A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken. Brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
I finished darning, David. You through working?
Not yet. About 5 minutes more.
I haven't seen you all day. Now you're busy with work.
Oh, these things happen.
Frequently?
Not too.
Shh. David, the faucet started leaking again.
Have the superintendent come in and fix it tomorrow.
Doesn't it bother you?
Nope. You win. I'll put the work aside. I'll do it after you go to bed.
You will not do it at your office.
Now, never get jealous of some paper and a few pencils, Claudia. Rogers probably still hasn't left the office.
His wife love him as much as I love you?
No. Whoever said I loved you?
Oh, I just get a general impression every once in a while. Say, David, I have something to show you.
What?
Maybe I'd better show it to you tomorrow.
Show it to me now.
Well, I got a letter today.
Who from?
The bank.
The bank?
Mm-hmm.
The bank?
Mm-hmm.
What do they want?
Maybe we'd better fix that faucet again.
So far as I know, we have no social acquaintances at the bank. I dislike letters from the bank. They usually want money.
Well, this letter was very friendly.
Well, let's have it.
I can tell you what it said. It was something about being overdrawn or something.
Overdrawn? That's impossible. We haven't been married long enough. Let me see that letter, Claudia.
It's a very short one, David, really. It just said that
Let me see the letter.
Oh, I thought you'd want to see it. It's in my sewing bag. I'll get it. I'm glad you waited till dinner about this. Somehow I knew you'd take it this way.
How'd you know?
Oh, I just knew. Honestly, I just can't imagine a big bank like that making a mistake.
Neither can I. Here, let's have the letter.
Here it is.
Thanks.
That faucet should be fixed. Whenever we stop talking, I can hear it drip. What's it say?
What you said it did. You're overdrawn.
There's still plenty of checks left in my book.
But no money in the bank. Darling, I told you when we were first married that I'd never question you about household expenses. But something seems to have gone wrong, doesn't it?
Yes, I just didn't think the money would go so fast.
Well, neither did I.
I'm sorry, David. It's just that I wanted to save and...
Save? Claudia, at this rate, we're lucky if we make ends meet on my salary. Didn't you keep track of the checks?
Don't be angry with me,
I'm
David.
not angry. I just want to know things. Didn't you keep track of the checks?
I drew out 12 checks.
I mean the money. How much each check was.
Well, I started to. And then I forgot once, and so everything went wrong, and I thought I'd wait for the statement to come at the end of the month.
You can't do things like that, Claudia. Look, now, let me show you. Where's your checkbook?
In my purse.
Well, bring it over here.
Oh, David, let's not have our first argument over money.
There's no argument, my love. I just want to show you how to keep your checkbook so that something like this doesn't happen again.
But you're angry at me.
I'm not angry at you. I'm not happy over what's happened, but it shouldn't have happened.
And it won't happen again, I promise. Here's my checkbook. I was so thrilled when you gave it to me. I'd never had a checkbook of my own before.
Now, sit down next to me, Claudia. We'll go over this together.
Yes, David.
Not here. Pull over the hassock.
Oh, you are angry. There's always been room for both of us in your chair before.
You'll never get any work done, though. Now, just pull over the hassock like a good girl and stop saying I'm angry. I'm not.
All right, David. I'm ready.
Can you see?
Well, I'll lean over.
Now, we'll start with page 1. Let's see. This is fine.
The man in the bank showed me how to make that one out.
Oh. Now, let's look at 2. Date, amount for groceries. Nothing wrong with that one either.
I looked at the first one.
And your balanced checks. Now, let's see. 3. You left the date off this one.
That's when things started going wrong.
We'll find out. Now, on the next one, you left out everything. No date, no amount, no reason.
I know. I must have been in a hurry. I've tried thinking what it was, but I just can't remember.
In other words, from here on in, we don't know what the balance is.
Well, I filled in most of the others.
Yeah, but that's no good. They've all got to be filled in. That's the purpose of having stubs and a checkbook. So you know how much to spend for what and when. Now, Claudia. Claudia, what's this next check? For $100. We haven't spent $100.
Just can't remember where it went.
Can't remember?
Isn't that silly? I know I didn't buy anything expensive.
A piano?
No, wait. Maybe I do know. I know what's happened to it.
I'd like to know.
I deposited the $100 in our savings account. I didn't see the sense in leaving it in the checking account. Think for them to use without interest. What's the matter?
You mean that...
Yeah, that's just what I mean.
Oh, no.
What's so funny, David?
You are. Now, the first thing tomorrow morning, you go down to the bank and put the $100 back.
All right, David.
Move over.
You move over.
Your bones stick out. You've got to put some fat on them.
It's not stylish. Would you rather have a fat wife or a stylish wife?
A fat one.
Oh.
Go make us a sandwich before we go to bed. Oh, and a glass of milk.
Oh, I'm too comfortable here with you. I think I'll get you a velvet smoking jacket for your birthday. This tweed scratches my face.
I'll never wear it. I don't like men with uniforms for doing things.
Uniforms?
Smoking jackets for men who don't smoke and polo shirts for men who don't play polo.
Oh, I see. And saddle shoes for people who aren't even horses?
Exactly. Now, that settles it now. How about the
No,
sandwiches?
hey, opera pumps for people who don't like the opera.
Who can't pump? How about the sandwiches?
I'm still going to get you a smoking jacket for your birthday.
I'm still not going to wear it.
Think of all the money we'll save on cleaning bills.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. At the rate the jacket will pay for itself in no time. Are you getting up, or will I have to forcibly evict you from this chair?
I haven't been forcibly evicted in a long time.
Well, get ready. It's going to happen at any moment now.
David, you wouldn't... David, please don't.
Do go and make the sandwiches, or I'll drop you, Mrs. Norton.
I'll go. I bruise too easily.
In that case, I'll set you down gently. There.
David, you're a bully.
I'm not. I'm hungry, and a hungry man will do anything.
I don't even think you're hungry. You're trying to fatten me up. You just want to keep me company while I eat. Isn't it wonderful we both have such nice appetites?
I don't know what we'd do without them. Now, get going, Mrs. Norton.
And listen, while I'm fixing the sandwiches, you can finish your work. I'll go into the kitchen, won't make a sound till I'm through and you're through.
It's a deal. Where are those papers I was working on?
On the floor next to your chair.
Oh.
Goodbye, David.
Goodbye. Have a nice trip.
David.
What?
Would you rather have a ham sandwich or a cold roast beef sandwich?
Roast beef.
David!
Yes, Claudia?
There's no roast beef.
I'll have ham then.
I ate the ham for lunch. There's some cheese, though.
I've changed my mind. I'll have cheese.
I knew you'd be pleased. I won't bother you anymore, David.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm getting used to it. In fact, I'm thinking of moving my office to a boiler factory.
If it's near the house, you can come home for lunch.
You said you weren't going to bother me.
I won't, not unless it's important. David.
Is it important?
Very important. Don't make so much noise.
Me? Make noise? Why?
Shh. Come in here quick. Come on, tiptoe in.
My dear Mrs. Norton, I am not a toe dancer.
Well, then take off your shoes and come in the kitchen.
I'll leave my
Quietly,
shoes on,
but
thank you.
Hurry up.
No, I realize my attempting to
Oh,
do
David,
work at
listen,
home.
stop talking so much and come on here.
It was all a big mistake.
Come on,
I'm
tiptoe faster.
Tiptoeing. What is it?
Look.
A mouse.
Shh, you'll frighten him.
Frightening? Aren't you frightened? Aren't all women supposed to be frightened of mice?
I always loved them. I love them. You know, I don't think this one minds if we talk in our natural voice.
Well, I'm glad of that. I'd hate to think of us spending the rest of our time in this apartment whispering because we didn't want to frighten a mouse.
He came out when I took the cheese out of the refrigerator.
Well, put it back. Maybe he'll go away. Mice aren't supposed to just stand around and look at you. They're supposed to run away.
Oh, not this one. He must be hungry. I think I'll drop a piece of cheese on the floor.
That cheese was supposed to be for my sandwich.
Oh, you had a big dinner. That poor little mouse, he probably hasn't even eaten in days. Here you are, little fella. Come on.
He is hungry. Here, let me have a piece.
David!
It's not for me. I want to feed him, too. Here, Goliath. Here, let him know he's welcome. He might be offended if I didn't make at least one gesture of friendship to me. Here you are.
Hey, not such big pieces. He'll dislocate his jaw. Oh, look, hasn't he got beautiful eyes?
Gorgeous. Looks just like you. Now we've got him. What do we do with him?
I don't know if that's a compliment or not to be compared to a mouse. You know, David, I don't think that people usually make pets of mice, do you?
Not usually. I think a cat or a dog would be more appropriate.
Oh, no, we couldn't get a cat now. We have a mouse. Look, he's standing on his hind legs.
I refuse to stand by and watch you teach him tricks. How about my sandwich?
You can't have it. The mouse is between us and the bread box. If we get the bread, he'll run away.
If I don't get the bread, I'll run away, and I won't have a sandwich. I'll go get it myself.
He's running away. You frightened him, you big bully.
Oh, I'm sorry if I hurt his feelings. You'll forgive me, won't you, old boy? Maybe he's just going to tell his friends he's found a free lunch counter. We'll probably be outnumbered tomorrow. Hey, there's no bread.
Well, anyway, no dishes to wash.
And no sandwiches to eat.
How would you like a glass of milk?
No use.
What do you mean, no use?
Just as I'd be lifting the glass to my lips, a cat would walk into the kitchen, I'm sure.
Now, how would a cat find his way in here?
He'd find a way. Now, let's turn out the lights and go back into the living room.
It's funny, I was just going to suggest that myself. Hey, it's dark.
That's because the lights are out. Out.
What happened?
That mouse pushed a chair in front of me in the dark.
It was very strong cheese.
You got drunk on it.
Where are you going to sit?
I ask you first.
Well, I'm going to sit, and I ask you first.
Well, all right, I'll sit in my usual chair. And you?
I'll sit in my usual lap.
I was afraid of that. All right. I'll brace myself. I'm ready. Come ahead.
I'm not that
Ooh. You're getting heavy. You'll have to lose some weight, Claudia.
You just told me I was bony and I had to put on some weight.
I've changed my mind. Your bones weigh too much then.
David, you're such a fool. David, do you think he'll come back tomorrow?
Who? Well, either
he
he will or his brother will, I'm sure.
How do you know he has a brother?
All mice have brothers. I know them all personally. Lots of brothers.
How about sisters?
Lots of sisters.
That's nice. I was an only mouse. Child.
I know your mother told me. She told me lots of things about you, but she left the most wonderful thing out.
Oh, David, what's the most wonderful thing about me?
That you are not afraid of mice.
Well, I'm not afraid of lions or tigers either.
Ever meet one?
No, but I'm sure I wouldn't be.
Afraid of a snake?
A snake? No.
Aren't you afraid of anything? Not even a snake?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you afraid of?
I'm scared to death of a worm. What's the matter? Oh, what are you laughing about, you... David, what are you laughing about?
Darling, I'm laughing at you.
All story material used on this broadcast of Claudia was under the supervision of Rose Franken and William Brown Maloney. You know, good times and delicious refreshment just naturally go together. That's why it's always a fine idea to keep ice-cold Coca-Cola in the refrigerator, ready to serve at any time. And tomorrow, when you're shopping at the grocery store for a Coke to take home, you'll find it mighty pleasant to pause at the familiar red Coca-Cola cooler, have a bottle of ice-cold Coke, and shop refreshed. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again Monday at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir, and remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series, X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Volpla by Wyman Gwynn. But first, hear this.
Hello, I'm Dorothy Olson, singing schoolteacher on NBC's big weekday musical show, Bandstand. But right now, I'd like to talk to you parents. I'd like to ask you a few questions as you're getting ready to send your youngsters back to school. Are you helping your child get the most out of his school? Do you make his home conditions favorable enough for him to do his homework? Do you show an interest in his schoolwork? Remember, your child's success in school and later on in life depends to a large degree on your attitude towards his schooling today. And there's another important thing. Everyone needs a good send-off in the morning, and that goes for children, too. Be sure your children have a substantial breakfast and a cheery goodbye before they head for school each day. Remember, you can't expect your child to do it all himself. Encourage him in his schooling, both in your attitude and in your actions as he goes back to school this fall.
Now, X-1 and Volpla.
Lunch, dear.
Oh, I'll be right there.
Come on, you old hermit. I have a buffet on the terrace.
I'm coming. So, I'm an old hermit, am I? And our daughter says I'm eccentric now. I wonder how the devil she ever found out.
From me, of course.
But you love me just the same.
Oh, Max, what's got into you? Stop it.
Oh, I reached the dangerous age. And, lady, I am going to have fun.
Well, come on out to the terrace. The hamburgers will get cold.
My dear, I'm going to have a new kind of fun.
Oh?
It's a joke. I'm going to play a tremendous joke on the whole world. I had been working for this moment for 10 years, and now, Volplas, 3 of them, a male and 2 females. I had called them Volplas since that day 10 years ago when I got the idea of creating a flying mutant, which I would teach to feed, play, and talk. Now I was almost ready to play my joke on the world. After lunch, when I returned to the lab, the Volplas were moving about on the mattress where I had placed them, and the male was trying to stand. They were about 28 inches high. Except for the face, chest, and belly, the Volplas were covered with a soft, almost golden down. The skin was pink. Upon his head and across his shoulders, the male had a shock of fur as soft as a chinchilla. The cranium was in the same proportion to the body as it is in the human. And they were shockingly human-eyed. When the male spread his arms, the span was 48 inches. I held his arms out and tried to tease the spars open. These spars turned backward and ran alongside the wrist almost to the elbow. powerful wrist muscles could snap them outward and forward. Suddenly, as I teased the male Volpla, this happened. The spars shot outward, adding 9 inches to each side of a span. The lateral skin, that had until now been resting in folds, was tightened into a golden plane that stretched from the tip of the spar to his waist, a true gliding plane, perhaps even a soaring plane. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, they were ready for their first solid food. Come on now, here, hold the cup. That's the way. Hold the cup. Oh, you're a beauty. You're all beauties. No, come on. Hey, don't climb on my back. No, now stop. Oh, that's better. Oh, hello, pretty one. Hello.
Hello.
So that's the way it's going to be, eh? Hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. Oh, you have no idea what I have in store for you, my dears. I will teach you a language, perhaps English, a simple basic English. You will have your own crafts, and you'll live in small tree houses, and I'll teach you legends that you came from the stars, that you watch the red men and the white men, and you listen to their speech. And when you're able to take care of yourselves, I'll turn you loose. There'll be Volpla colonies up and down the coast before anyone suspects. And then, my dear, one day, somebody will see a Volpla, and the scientists will observe them. Then the legends will come. Isn't that funny? Don't you think that's terribly funny?
Funny.
You're listening to Volpla. Now back to X-1 and Act 2 of Volpla.
I used the metabolic accelerator to cut the Volpla's gestation down to 1 week, and I used it to bring the infants to maturity in 1 month. By the next spring, I had a colony of over 100 Volplas, and I shut down the accelerator. From now on, they could have their babies in their own way. I had devised a language for them, and I carefully adulterated it with English, as if they had observed us and learned. My Volplas were amazing. They were bilingual. Well, Jane and Susie went down to Santa Barbara for a week, and I took the opportunity to ship the male and the oldest 2 females out of the lab. I put them in a Jeep beside me and drove to a secluded valley about a mile back on the ranch.
Tree, rock, sky.
That's right, Chief. That's the sky. All right, come on now. Everybody out. Run, jump.
Jump. Run, sky.
That's right. Take off. Go ahead. He spent about 2 hours chasing the 2 girl Volplas around, and then he made a leap for one. And when he spread his arms, his spars snapped out, and those golden planes sheared into the air.
Sky.
He sailed over her, and he rose up, and he hung in the breeze for a long moment, 3 feet above the ground.
Fly.
That's right. You can fly.
Oh, fly.
They learned quickly and brilliantly. They were not really flyers. They were gliders and soarers. Before long, they took agilely to the trees and launched themselves in beautiful glides for hundreds of feet, banking and turning and spiraling to a gentle halt. Oh, I laughed out loud with anticipation. Wait until the first pair of these is brought before a sheriff. Wait till the newspaper reporters are routed out into the hills to witness this. When they were tired, the Volplas lay on their backs with their planes stretched out. The oldest one came over to me. He squatted, his elbows resting in the ground, his wrist crossed at his chest.
Before the red men, we live here.
That's right. In places like these, you lived all along these mountains. Now there are very few of you left. Since you've been staying in my place, you've naturally forgotten the ways of living outdoors.
We learn again. We stay here.
That's right. Now look. Look, you see up in that tree? That's a bird. That's your food, if you can kill it. Well, I don't think you can get at them in the tree. You'll have to soar up above and catch one of them on the wing when they fly away. Go ahead, try. He climbed the tree and launched himself and caught a warm updraft from the hillside. In no time, he was about 200 feet away. He began working his way, crisscrossing back to us, and then suddenly he dived. He caught the bird! He caught the bird!
Bird! Bird! Bird! We eat!
Yes, you eat this. I'll show you how to build a fire. Again, I told them the story I had made up. How they came long before the red men in a ship from the stars. I taught them to point to the planet Venus and say that was the star they came from. I grinned to think of the many stories that would be written in the Sunday supplements. Oh, what a great joke I was playing on the world.
We came from a star before the red men? From a star?
Yes. The next week, I brought all the Volplas out to the oak wood. There were 107 men, women, and children. By the end of the week, they were scattered over 4 square miles of the ranch. They hunted sparrows and cooked them over tiny fires. The little creatures delighted me more and more. For hours, I could watch them play. I could sit all afternoon and watch them at work in a tree house, quite forgetting to go home.
Well, how does the mighty hunter who now returns from the forest?
Fine. Oh, I've been enjoying the local animal life.
So is our daughter.
What do you mean?
She has 2 of them up in her room.
2 what?
I don't know. What do you call them?
I went up the stairs 3 at a time and burst into my daughter's room. There she sat in her bed, reading a book to 2 Volplas.
Hello there, King Arthur.
What's going on here?
Oh, nothing, Daddy. We're just reading like we always do.
Like always? How long has this been going on?
Oh, weeks and weeks. How long has it since that first time you came here to visit me?
Weeks and weeks.
But you're teaching them to read.
Oh, of course. They're such good pupils and so grateful. Daddy, you won't make them go away, will you?
Oh, Jane, why didn't you tell me such a thing like this was going on?
Now, you listen to me, mister. Your whole life is a secret from us. Just what makes you think your daughter can't have a little secret of her own?
Oh, fine secret. Didn't it occur to you that this might be dangerous? Those creatures are...
Oh, Max, for heaven's sake, they're sweet, lovable little creatures without a harm in their furry little bodies. Now, don't get excited.
Chief! Look, where are you?
Here, Bush.
Listen. Do you realize there are 2 Volplas in my daughter's bedroom?
Yes, they go there every day. Is there anything wrong with that?
But she's teaching them the words men put on paper.
Yes, you told us men may be enemies. We wish to learn so we can protect. I have Thing here.
Well, that's the San Francisco Chronicle.
We've been taking it for some time from box at your house.
Oh.
I have learned from the others. I can read most of this.
It was terrible. The whole wonderful joke of the Volplas would be lost. But I knew what I would have to do. I'd have to explain that my family and I had found a colony of them in our ranch and taught them English and taught them to read. I was stuck with that.
Men are dangerous. They will shoot us with guns if we leave here.
No. Now listen. When they know who you are, they'll leave you alone. Now, you must disperse all your families at once. Send them far away and spread out.
No, we cannot leave these woods. Men would shoot us.
But I'm telling you...
Perhaps you are not a good friend. Perhaps you have lied to us. Why are you saying we should leave these woods?
But it's important. The whole... you'll be safer.
We will decide.
The whole thing was critical. It could be disastrous. I went back to the house and up to Susie's room. I found her talking to 2 Volplas.
Oh, no. I'm sure you didn't come from the stars. That doesn't sound right. The more I think about it, the more I'm sure that my father made you.
Susie, what business have you telling them that? I don't want you talking to them that way. Do you hear me?
Daddy, you want to play a joke, don't you? Like the time you said I could have a horse for my birthday. You gave me that dried seahorse in the bottle instead of a real one. Were you going to make that kind of a joke?
No, now, Susie, honey, that isn't exactly it, no.
I don't think it's very funny. The Volplas are my friends. I wouldn't want to play a practical joke on them.
Chief, where are you? Chief!
Oh, confound it, the fires are out, none of them around.
Chief! Are you up there in that treehouse? Where are you? Where are all of you? You've got to listen to me. I made you. The joke, the whole joke is spoiled. Where are you? Chief! Volplas! Volplas!
I was away from the house for hours. When I came back, I found Jane sitting on the terrace.
Are you looking for something, dear?
Oh, never mind.
I suppose they're all gone.
What do you mean?
The little flying things. I saw them fly by about 4 in the afternoon.
You did? Where did they go?
Over that way. You could see them soaring over the trees. Oh, it was so pretty.
Where's Susie?
She's been watching television. She's all excited about the rocket flight, you know.
What rocket?
Oh, you have been living in the woods. The Venus rocket. My goodness, it's been in all the newspapers. Well, where are you going?
I've got to talk to Susie. Susie!
Daddy, the rocket's almost ready to go. Listen.
It approaches 0 hour now. The rocket stands tall and silvery. The gantry crane is pulled away now. We're actually at least 5 miles away, watching from the remote monitors. There's some disturbance now. It seems to be some birds. Big birds, like a flock of owls circling the ship.
Oh, Daddy, look.
Hey, wait a minute. They're flying through the hatch. It seems to be jammed open. Well, this is certainly an unforeseen development. The men on the ground are driving a motor-driven ladder up to the ship, and the owls seem to be fighting them off. Oh, there goes the hatch. It's closed. Those birds are inside. They're big birds, big as eagles. As we told you previously, ladies and gentlemen, the rocket is on automatic fire. It'll go off in precisely 10 seconds.
We stared at the television screen. We saw the red blast of fire and the silvery rocket streak up into the sky, the cameras following.
Our reporter at scientific headquarters reports that none of the rocket telemeters are recording. The owls who blundered into the open hatch in this heartbreaking accident seem to have disrupted the automatic recorders. The control circuit cannot be altered. The rocket will land on Venus as scheduled.
Daddy, those weren't owls, were they?
No, they weren't.
Owls. He thought they were owls. That's kind of a joke, isn't it? Isn't it a joke, Daddy?
I'd say, Max, dear, the joke's on you. Wait till men land on Venus and find Venusians with a legend about their great father in California.
Of course, they left me a note. The handwriting wasn't very good, but then you wouldn't write very well either if your index finger was 9 inches long. I sat on the patio and read the Volpla's farewell. It said, "The man who made us, we forgive you. We know we did not come from the stars, but we go there. I, the chief, give you welcome to visit. We will try not to laugh at you. Goodbye."
Fred Collins speaking, and I'll have a word for you about tonight's X-1 in a moment.
Say, Bert Clark, my true story's coming our way.
Monday is the moving day.
That's good news for me. My true story on NBC.
Well, that's good news for everybody, Dorothy Olson, for all the millions of women who've been faithful listeners to My True Story during its 15 fabulous years in radio. And for all the millions more who now have an opportunity to hear these complete stories every weekday morning in the half-hour time period just before our NBC bandstand.
And I think we ought to remind everyone, Bert, that this is the same My True Story that has been one of radio's most popular morning programs.
With a complete drama every morning about people and their problems.
Still acted by wonderful casts and adapted by Margaret Sangster from material supplied by True Story magazine.
Same time, but new stations. So take note and don't miss a single broadcast. Starting Monday, September 2nd, you'll hear My True Story at this spot on your dial, just before NBC Bandstand over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of a future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, Saucer of Loneliness by Theodore Sturgeon. But first, hear this.
Hello, I'm Dorothy Olson, singing schoolteacher on NBC's big weekday musical show, Bandstand. But right now, I'd like to talk to you parents. I'd like to ask you a few questions as you're getting ready to send your youngsters back to school. Are you helping your child get the most out of his school? Do you make his home conditions favorable enough for him to do his homework? Do you show an interest in his schoolwork? Remember, your child's success in school and later on in life depends to a large degree on your attitude towards his schooling today. And there's another important thing. Everyone needs a good send-off in the morning, and that goes for children, too. Be sure your children have a substantial breakfast and a cheery goodbye before they head for school each day. Remember, you can't expect your child to do it all himself. Encourage him in his schooling, both in your attitude and in your actions as he goes back to school this fall.
Now, X-1, the story, Saucer of Loneliness by Theodore Sturgeon.
My name is Jason Bernardes. I'm a newspaper reporter, 31 years old. I write poetry, but I don't show it to anybody because they might laugh. And the things I write about are very important to me. I was an only child and never went much with girls because I'm too ugly and too sensitive and they used to hurt me. I live alone. It isn't much fun. I'm not painting this picture of myself to get sympathy. I don't need it. But it's important you should know the kind of person I am. Otherwise, you won't understand what I'm going to tell you about. Tonight, the 25th of June, 1962. I was down on the beach. There was a girl out there in the surf, alone, struggling. I plunged in after her, got her, brought her ashore, and carried her where a dune was between us and the water. Then I rubbed her wrists. She had a pale, beautiful face with ancient, bottomless blue eyes. She opened them and looked at me after a moment. It's all right now. Here, put my coat over you.
Why couldn't you leave me alone?
I couldn't.
Why?
Because it's important to me.
I suppose you want to know why I did it.
No, I know.
Oh, how could you know?
Maybe I know what it means to be lonely.
Oh, that.
That's it, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't be afraid. I've been looking for you for a long time.
Looking for me?
All my life.
How did you know? I don't believe you.
It's true. I found your message.
You found my message?
Yes.
Oh.
You see, there's nothing to be afraid of, not anymore. Just rest.
Yes. I'd like to rest for a while.
She didn't remember it, of course, but I was one of the reporters who had covered the story when it first happened, 5 years ago. I'll never forget that day. I was working the police blotter. It was a quiet summer afternoon when they brought her in. 2 big cops in blue uniform.
All right. Come on now, girlie. Come on. All right. We understand. Take it easy now.
Please, just let me go.
Disturbing the peace.
This that Central Park Club?
Yeah, this is it.
I thought you radioed there was a near riot up there.
Well, you should have seen the place.
All right. Give me the report.
Well, me and Bennett got up there. There was a mob of people all surrounding this girl, see? So we bust through, and there, in the middle of maybe 600 people, she's lying there, sort of in a faint.
Mm-hmm.
I asked a couple of people what the difficulty was. They tell me it's a flying saucer, you see? So I tell
The what?
The flying saucer.
What is it, Miss Sagag?
It happened.
It did, eh? Suppose you tell me your version.
Well, I was standing in the park, and I looked up, and there it was.
Describe it.
Well, it was beautiful. It was golden with a dusty finish like an unripe Concord grape, and it made a faint sound, a chord of 2 tones, and it circled over my head like some great round hummingbird.
Go on.
Well, other people must have seen it because they were all looking at me and pointing, and I saw one man cross himself, and then it came down and touched me and spoke to me.
This flying saucer spoke to you?
Yes.
Just what did it say to you? I said, what did it say?
I can't tell you.
A secret, huh?
Yes.
I see. Connolly, this girl's for Bellevue.
Well, Sergeant, the plain fact is that it happened just like that. 10 witnesses all agree it did.
Are you trying to tell me there was such a thing as this whirring hummingbird of a saucer?
Oh, there was that, Sergeant.
And just how do you know, Connolly?
We got the thing out in a squad car. Bennett is bringing it in right now, see? About 36 inches across it is and covered with strange markings.
Holy mackerels, you call the bomb squad?
Oh, I didn't think of it.
Well, think of it, man. This may be some kind of atomic weapon the Reds are sending over.
I'll turn it over to ballistics.
Never mind about ballistics. Call the FBI. Tell us what we got.
Yep.
Now back to X-1 and Saucer of Loneliness.
Now, miss, let me be very frank. I'm not a policeman. I'm a security agent. That means I deal with problems that affect the security of our country. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, we've examined this flying saucer enough to know it is not of American manufacture. It also possesses an extremely high radioactive count. That means it was in an area where radioactive materials are in great abundance, such as an area where atom bombs are made. That's why we want to know the message you received from the saucer.
There was no message.
You just made it up?
Yes.
I'm afraid you're lying. There is a communications device on the saucer, and many people heard it make some sound as it touched you.
Please, just leave me alone.
All you have to do is tell us what the saucer said, and you can go home, and we won't ever bother you again.
No.
Well, gentlemen, we'll get nothing out of her. I don't believe she really knows what that humming noise was. You better have a psychiatrist examine her.
They took her to the city hospital and placed her in a guarded room. Whenever the door opened, she could see the policeman outside. The door opened quite often. There were a lot of important people, some in Army uniforms who came up from Washington just to see her and talk to her. A few days later, she was released from the hospital and returned to court to be tried on the disorderly conduct charge. They found her guilty and fined her $15 and turned her loose. When she walked out of the courtroom, she was handed a subpoena to appear before a congressional committee in a private session. She answered all their questions except one. My newspaper sent me to cover the hearing.
Now, young lady, I want to remind you that I am a senator of the United States and empowered by the people of this country to ask questions relating to matters of security. You understand?
Yes.
Your name is Janet Boyce, is it not?
I told you that.
Now, this flying saucer, you said it talked to you. You did say that, didn't you?
Yes.
And then you denied it?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was tired of answering questions.
Young woman, let me put something to you squarely. By the way, I think if there are members of the press here, I can divulge a rather spectacular piece of information to you. This flying saucer has been thoroughly examined and analyzed. And I wish to inform the people of this great nation that it definitely, I repeat, it definitely did not originate on this planet.
The furor was fantastic, and the contempt trial that followed was spectacular. She was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. 6 months ago, she was released. I found out she'd gotten a job cleaning at night in offices and stores down near the beachfront. There weren't many to clean, but that meant there weren't many people to remember her face from the newspapers. I tracked her down and caught up with her in a one-armed coffee joint about 4 in the morning. Excuse me, miss. Mind if I sit here?
No. Which are you? Security, newspapers, or just somebody out for a good time?
You're pretty bitter, aren't you?
Shouldn't I be?
I guess you should. Well, my name's Jason Beniades. I'm with the newspaper.
Well, it's been nice meeting you. I have to go now.
Just a minute.
Now, please.
Look. I can't blame you. Please tell me how it's been.
So you can write about it?
I promise you I won't write anything you don't want me to write.
Okay. You want to know how it's been? I'll tell you. Right after I got out of jail, I met a man at a restaurant. A nice man. He asked me for a date. I spent every cent I had on a red handbag to go with my red shoes. And I was very excited about the date. We went to a movie. Afterward, he didn't even try to kiss me or anything. He just wanted to know what the flying saucer had told me. Oh, I didn't say anything. I just went home and cried all night.
That was it?
Oh, no. I had another date. I get pretty lonely. This time they arrested the man I was with. He was a Russian agent.
I'm sorry.
Now you go away and leave me alone.
Yes.
Aren't you going to ask me the big question?
No.
Everybody does.
Not me.
Oh, you will sooner or later.
Maybe. Look, can I take you home?
No.
Can I see you again?
Look,
Please.
Oh, I don't know. I'm afraid to let myself like anyone.
Try me. Make it your last chance. Trust me. Will you?
I'm not sure.
Maybe?
Maybe.
I'll wait here for you tomorrow night.
All right.
The next night, I went back to the coffee joint to wait for her. I knew she got through about 4 in the morning, and I got there about 15 minutes early.
Mr. Beniades?
Yes. Say, you're the chief of security section, aren't you?
You have a good memory. You mind if I sit down?
Well, I'm expecting somebody.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I see.
I'd like to talk to you.
All right. Go ahead.
You probably know that we've been trying to gain the confidence of this girl for some years now.
Yes.
We have reason to believe that this girl is a courier for some alien power.
On what do you base that?
Well, there was the incident of the saucer, of course. We've definitely established that it came from some other planet. And recently she's been throwing messages inside bottles into the ocean.
What sort of messages?
They're always the same. I have one right here. You're welcome to read it and see if it makes any sense. We've had every decoding expert in the service trying to break it, but we can't seem to find the key.
I see.
She's thrown literally hundreds of these messages and bottles into the sea. We've got many of them, but not all, naturally. What we're most interested in is locating the contact.
Naturally.
That's where you fit in. We'd like you to gain this girl's confidence even further. Try to find out just what these messages mean. And beyond that, what the saucer said to her. You'll be doing us a favor. And your country a great service.
You're certain this is some subversive activity on her part?
How else can you explain the fact that she won't tell us her secrets?
Maybe because it's hers. Everybody has a right to have something of his own.
Are you trying to tell me that you won't cooperate?
I didn't say that.
I'd like to remind you, Mr. Benaides, that you have a duty to us.
I know that. I also have a duty to myself and to God. Now, if you'll excuse me. I folded the bottle message and put it in my pocket and waited for her to show up. The minutes went by and the hours, and I knew she wasn't coming. Or she had come and seen me with the chief and changed her mind. And that's when I left the cafe and walked down to the beach. That's when I had dragged her out of the surf before she could follow one of her bottles into the water. How do you feel now? You cold?
Why should you care?
Oh, I do.
Is that why you were sitting with the security chief in the cafe?
I didn't arrange that meeting. He asked me to spy on you.
I suppose he told you about the bottles.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder how much of the taxpayers' money they've spent gathering them up. What they wanted was a new weapon, you see. Some super scientific super science from some alien super race. Science, that's all they think of.
Well, it's pretty important.
Would it have ever occurred to them that this super race from another planet might have super feelings or super longings or super loneliness? Oh, no, all they think about is weapons. Well, isn't it time you asked me what the saucer said?
No.
Well, they all ask me.
I don't have to ask you. I know.
You know?
Let me read it to you. There is in certain living souls a quality of loneliness unspeakable. So great it must be shared, as company is shared by lesser beings. Such a loneliness is mine. So know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
How did you know?
It's the message you put in the bottles. The same message that some lonely, strange being in some other world put into a bottle. Only his bottle was a flying saucer and sent across space to you.
You knew it.
I'm lonely, too. Look at me. I've never had the love of a woman. They think I'm pretty ugly. I have beautiful thoughts in my head, but I write trash. I have this nose.
You're not ugly.
You know, I don't feel ugly right now.
Say it again. The message from the saucer.
Know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
I wonder if whoever first wrote it has found someone.
I think perhaps he has.
Fred Collins speaking, and I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment.
I like to look deep into the human heart with my camera. So speaks Margaret Burke-White, one of the outstanding photographers of our time. Perhaps you remember one of her favorite pictures, the tremendously moving photograph of two South African gold miners sweltering in dank airlessness deep under Africa's green hills. We agree with Miss White that all the sorrow of mankind is in the miners' eyes. And what if those miners could speak? What is the story behind their sorrow? This is the objective of the program we call Life and the World, to add new dimensions in sound to the picture stories in each week's issue of Life magazine to bring you the actual voices of the people most intimately associated with stories of human interest gathered from the four corners of the earth. This is Frank Blair inviting you to keep a rendezvous with life and the world every weeknight over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the Gordon R. Dixon short story, Robots Are Nice. To Jim Harvey, at least, robots weren't the least bit nice. He had a feeling they had something up their sleeve valves, and in time he found out what it was. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Saucer of Loneliness, a story written by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Lynn Cook as Jason Benaides and Lydia Bruce as the girl. Others in our cast were Joseph Bell, Harvey Hayes, Ross Martin, and Roger DeKoven. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
You'll be on the right line for exciting nighttime entertainment when you hear Nightline tonight over most of these NBC stations.
Down in the South Pacific Ocean, a submarine is racing madly for the United States. Just 4 hours ago, the Gregory party escaped from the island of Euclidia in a stolen Euclidean submarine. Joan Gregory, 15-year-old girl who has spent nearly all her life on the strange artificial island, is operating the submarine, while Jerry Hall, Mrs. Gregory, and Captain Bradford watch with interest and ply Joan with questions. The speedy undersea craft is making over 40 knots and is 8 fathoms below the surface of the water.
Are you sure we've come that far, Joan?
It is obvious that my instruments could not be wrong. We have progressed slightly more than 160 miles during the last 4 hours.
Think of that, Pat. 4 hours, 160 miles, and under 8 fathoms of water.
I am thinking of it, Tex, but there's so much to think of that I'm not able to grasp it all.
Golly, I'm not doing any better, Mrs. Gregory. But it's mighty swell to know we've left that crazy island behind us, and that nothing can stop us now.
Oh, how I hope that's true.
Well, of course it is, Patricia. You've been worried so long and seen your plans so badly treated that you're afraid to believe in good luck when it does come along.
Indications point toward a fair possibility of achievement of our goal. We have many miles to traverse, however, and Euclidia is not to be forgotten.
Well, I'm going to forget it just as soon as I can.
Joan, you're not sure that we're safely away from that island, are you?
No one who appreciates the ability of G-47 is ever sure of anything in which he might take an interest.
Yes, and he might take plenty of interest in our escape.
I'll say he will.
It will avail us nothing to anticipate trouble. We must now eat something.
Huh? Eat?
By Jove, Joan, we forgot to provision the boat.
We had no time, even if we had remembered it.
The submarine is fully provisioned.
Oh, with what?
Food.
You sure keep it hid.
Yes, I can't see any space in here large enough to contain any amount of food.
And we've a long way to go to California.
The Euclideans are as exacting regarding food as they are in their provision for sufficient fuel. We are amply provisioned for a cruise of this length and more.
Well, come on, break out the grub.
What?
Jerry means let's eat.
It would seem indicated as the passage of time since our last meal is slightly more than the customary period allowed to elapse.
Maybe that's how you find out when it's time to eat, but I know when I'm hungry.
Yes, and I'm a little inclined to figure the way Jerry does. My stomach is better than the clock.
The thought of food had not occurred to you until I noted the fact that it was time to eat.
Oh, that's what you think. I was plenty hungry long ago, but I didn't see any sense in asking for something we didn't have.
That was my feeling, Jerry. I had thought of food some time ago, but I knew it wouldn't do any good to suggest it, as we'd only feel worse about not having any.
It is amazing to learn how foolish people can be in your world.
Foolish because we get hungry?
Certainly not. Foolish because you refuse to accept the perfection of Euclidean preparations. It would be a serious offense if a Euclidean were to start on a trip without all necessary equipment and provisions.
Well, that's okay, too. But we stole this boat, and you don't always find a boat ready to steal all full of food.
Well, supposing we'd met that Joan showed us up and asked for some of the food, huh?
Yes. I can marvel at having the food just as comfortably while I'm eating it.
Very well. Jerry.
Aye, Skipper?
I am not a skipper, Jerry.
Okay. What do you want?
Will you open the metal slide in the steel section near your left arm?
Oh, this little thing here?
Yes, that is
Sure.
it. You will observe a number of quartz vials, each labeled and numbered.
Yeah, there's a lot of little bottles here. They're all marked D1 and Z4 and all such things.
We will not require more than the one you have in your hand. That is marked Z4, is it not?
Yeah, but what's in it?
Our noonday meal.
Huh?
Joan, dear, are you looking at what Jerry has in his hand?
I glanced at it. The label will be correct.
But we're looking for something to eat.
That vial contains sufficient for our needs at this time.
Now look, Joan. This bottle isn't any bigger than your thumb. Well, how can we eat out of that?
If you will remove the cap, please.
Okay, off comes the cap.
Now, Mother, if you and the captain will extend your hands, Jerry will drop one of the tablets in each hand.
Why, yes, but... Oh, good heavens, that little capsule isn't much larger than the end of a lead pencil.
You will find it sufficient for a satisfying meal.
A meal? This little pill is a meal?
You are very skeptical, Captain Bradford. But let me advise you to eat the pellet at once. Much of the food value will be lost in the air if you continue to hold it in the palm of your hand.
Oh, golly whiskers. Do you chew this up or just swallow it?
If you wish to savor the exquisite taste, it is permissible to masticate and slowly swallow the food contents.
Slowly swallow? How can you swallow a thing like that slowly?
Jerry, taste your tablet. It is delicious. And give Joan hers.
Oh, sure. Sorry, Joan. Here's your porterhouse steak.
Why, George, Pat, you're right. That tastes mighty good. Seems to taste like a good, healthy mouthful, too.
Well, if it's all right with you two, I guess I can take a chance on it, too. But I can't see how... Oh, golly whiskers. Now I've done it. I swallowed my dinner without even getting a chance to taste it.
You will receive the food value as quickly as if you had tasted it. Many of the Euclideans prefer to swallow the pellets quickly, saving considerable time.
Yeah, I guess it's too long for lunch if you take time to chew up a pill. What a bunch of people old G47 and his playmates are.
Well, I must admit that's one of the most satisfying meals I've ever eaten. Oh, I feel so comfortably drowsy, just as if I'd eaten a little too much.
It is not too much. Those tablets are scientifically correct in their food content.
Well, I feel all right. No, maybe that was all the lunch I ought to have. But it's a funny way to get it.
I'll tell you a funny one's in that. I'll bet no one else has noticed it.
What's that, Tex?
Well, I'm not thirsty. None of you have asked for a drink of water.
Why, you're right. It's been hours since we had any water, and I never felt the need of it.
The need for water is partly provided for in the tablets. But in such concentrated form, it is impossible to secrete sufficient normal moisture to serve for a longer time. I had given it no thought and have no water prepared. But in a few moments you will be supplied.
Prepared? Water? How?
Now, Joan, don't tell me you've got some concentrated water in a fountain pen.
Naturally not. You should know, Captain Bradford, that when water is condensed sufficiently to compress it for such use as this, it is no longer water. Even the Euclideans have failed to compress water appreciably and then return it to its natural state.
Well, it's almost a relief to hear that you admit that those scientists have failed at something. Their continued perfection with everything they attempt is bewildering and terrifying.
Where do you turn on the hydrant?
Turn on the hydrant?
Sure. Open the faucet. Start the pump. Make the fountain bubble. Oh, when do we get a drink?
If you will allow me a few seconds to refuel, I will show you.
Go right ahead, Joan.
And all this is real? A submarine that takes but a few seconds to refuel?
Well, maybe we can do something about that. Seems like a waste of time to me.
You think I do it too slowly?
Now, don't let Jerry kid you, Joan. Go to it. And if you don't mind, I'd like to watch you closely. Have you explain the refueling process as you go along. It's always happened too fast for me.
It is very difficult to demonstrate for that reason. However, there is enough fuel in the first chamber to allow me a few seconds for explanation in advance of the actual operation.
May we all watch, dear?
Certainly, Mother, although there is little to see. As you will note, that heavy cylinder of transparent steel contains several hundred small cubes of a grayish mineral substance. That substance is a highly condensed, compressed, and dehydrated gas. When the gas cubes are mixed with ordinary salt water, spontaneous combustion expands the whole at a terrific rate, and this force is allowed to escape through two jets in the stern.
So far, so good. But how do you get those cubes of dry gas down into that lower combustion chamber?
Watch closely now. I move this lever. So. and that action closes the valve in the upper end of the chamber. Now I move this lever and release one of the cubes, allowing it to drop through the valve and then quickly close the valve, restricting the chemical action to the lower chamber. Follow this closely now.
I hope you saw what you were looking for, Tex. It was much too rapid for me.
Me, too.
Oh, it's remarkable, Jerry. We'll certainly have wonderful stories to tell when we get back home.
Yes, unless we can prove them, nobody's going to believe us.
Well, we'll have a submarine to show them, and when we get some help and some of your formula to use in capturing the Magic Island, we can prove the whole thing then.
You are very optimistic, Jerry, but that portion of our adventures is far from realization.
Oh, Joan, dear, we'll get out of this all right. I feel it.
Sure we will. OG-47 can't touch us now.
Yeah, stop worrying about those Euclideans, Joan, and go on with our education. Now, where's this drink of water coming from?
I am indeed sorry that the water was forgotten. We will now extract enough for our immediate uses.
Extract it? Extract water?
Precisely.
Okay, precisely. Tell us how you get water out of a steel submarine.
I get water out of the ocean.
The ocean?
You would find it simple to extract the salt from seawater and render it satisfactory for human consumption if you were in your laboratory, would you not?
Of course, with proper apparatus. Retorts, stills, burners, and bell jars, but I'm lost here.
Lost? But we are on our course.
Oh, Tex, man. You left him hopelessly behind in your discussion, Joan, dear.
Well, why don't you go ahead and show us, Joan, like you did about the compressed gas tablets for fuel?
Well, I think that is best. We can always get a good general impression by watching you at work.
In securing palatable water, we make use of the same principle you employ in your laboratory, that of distillation. However...
What is it, Joan?
Sounds like a carrier wave coming out of a radio.
Tune it in quick, Joan. It might be Johnson trying to reach it.
Not on that wavelength. There is no transmitter in your world with a frequency of that calibration.
Well, it surely sounds like a radio.
Yes, now, bet it is.
You are indeed hearing the tuning signal of a transmission apparatus, but your friend Johnson will never be heard there.
Well, what is it?
The location beam from Euclidia.
The Magic Island?
Oh, they've located us.
Steady, Pat. Now, what is it exactly, Joan?
That constant signal will be received by every Euclidean receiving set all over the world. Every spy Euclidia has is getting it. And all will know that something is missing from Euclidia.
And I suppose the search is on right now.
You may be sure that the ocean and air are alive with Euclidean pursuit units at this moment, Captain.
Oh, gee. Let's tune in on the island station and see what old G47 is broadcasting about.
No. Our only hope of escaping location is to refuse to open our receiver to voice transmission. That would break the beam, and the instruments on Euclidia would register it at once, giving them our exact distance from the island.
You mean we can't even receive a message without being located?
Exactly.
But what if Johnson or some other rescue agency attempts to communicate with us?
We will not receive their messages. Our only hope now is to remain lost in the depths of the sea. Lost to Euclidia and lost to the world.
For the second time, the Gregory party has escaped from the Magic Island. And as they race along under the sea in a Euclidean submarine, putting 40 more miles between themselves with every hour, it looks as if all should be well. But nothing connected with the Magic Island is ever just what it seems to be. Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, and Jerry Hall have been enjoying themselves as Joan explains the working of the stolen submarine. But the fun is over when their radio picks up a warning signal from Euclidia. Joan is explaining that it will be impossible for them to intercept any messages without giving away their own position.
But we've just got to sit still and listen to that thing howl. We can't even get any messages out.
We will be able to send no communication while the Euclidean transmission beam is in operation, Jerry.
I can't understand it, Joan. You say that Euclidean radio is working on a wavelength far shorter than anything in our world.
Yes, Mother.
Well, then why can't we use the radio in this submarine? Use it on the common broadcast band or commercial shortwave and be perfectly safe.
We would interrupt that signal we are now hearing.
I don't see how.
I believe I do, Jerry. As long as that signal continues without interruption, G47 has no way of finding out that we are even receiving it here. But if we cut it off to move from that wavelength, the action will be registered on the recording graphs at the island. Locating a send would be a mighty simple matter.
And we don't even dare to stop that noise.
It would be very unwise.
Well, it sure gets on my nerves.
Well, don't let it bother you too much. It's better to have a few shivers running up and down your back than it would be for G47 to locate us.
Oh, I'll say it is.
You're right, Tex. Why, it stopped.
Yeah. And I can get along swell without it.
I guess none of us will miss it much.
If you wish to act quickly, you may try to reach Johnson now.
We can use the radio to send him a message?
I would not attempt that as yet. However, you know the wavelength of the boat Johnson is now on, and you know he will be transmitting almost a constant signal to you. I would suggest opening our set to that wavelength for reception, but we will have only 90 seconds.
90 seconds? For what?
The Euclidean beam will be off for 90 seconds.
Well, then hurry. Put that set on 6 meters.
Very well, Captain. I will observe the time carefully and return the radio to normal in time to receive the Euclidean beam.
We must be very careful not to run over into it.
I've got the receiver on 6 meters.
That's where we last heard from Johnson.
But Tex, he was on a boat then, running to Los Angeles. Don't you think he should be home by this time?
I wonder about that.
Well, he'd be trying to reach us just the same, wouldn't he?
Well, possibly not, Jerry. If Johnson is in Los Angeles, he's very busy trying to arrange a rescue party.
Yes, and being laughed at every time he tells his story.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Nobody would believe Johnson's story about what happened to us.
The fact that you have not returned should offer ample proof that all is not well with you. And if Johnson is clever, he will succeed in making your friends understand your position.
We've organized a rescue all right, Joan, but that takes time.
Well, we don't seem to be doing ourselves any good on the radio.
Oh, don't be too impatient, Jerry. We may have to listen for hours to get any word from Johnson.
You have a powerful private transmitter at your home, have you not, Mother?
Why, yes, Joan.
Would it not be wise to... Wait, let me have the radio controls, Jerry. It is time for the Euclidean beam. I will make the change quickly.
Glad you remembered that, Joan. Wouldn't be so good to run over into the
Silence.
Boy, you sure didn't give yourself any time to spare. You just barely got the set changed over when that signal came in.
I was quite conscious of the passing of time.
You've got more compass in your watch than I'd have in mine.
And what if that Euclidean beam had started a little early? What if they hadn't waited their full 90 seconds?
Well, we'd just be on our way back to the island and spend more time worrying with the things they give prisoners to do on Euclidia.
Everything is constant on Euclidia. When a Euclidean is told that the location beams are transmitted constantly, with 90-second intervals and 60 seconds of activity, you may be sure that you will be allowed exactly 90 seconds of silence between transmissions.
Well, we'll take your word for it, Joan. You certainly know a whole lot more about G47 and his scientists than we do. But I'd suggest that you be ready to use the whole 90 seconds listening for Johnson when that beam stops.
Yes, Joan, dear. We must be ready to switch to our own wavelength at once.
I had anticipated that.
You'll want to put the set on 1 1/2 meters.
The radio will be set to 1 1/2 meters the instant Euclidea's beam is silent.
Not much chance of hearing anything from Johnson now, though. He won't be sending night and day.
Well, I'm inclined to believe that he may be, Tex. He can easily get any number of amateurs to work in shifts for him.
Well, hey, there goes the beam.
Change the wavelength, Joan.
I have changed it.
You sure work fast.
When time is computed in seconds, it is well not to waste it.
Well, let's be quiet a minute and see if we can hear anything.
Not a sound.
It is possible that your transmitter in Los Angeles is very weak and might not reach us clearly underwater. I will soundproof the submarine.
Soundproof the submarine?
What do you mean, Joan?
I will close the visibility slides. The outer shell is not soundproof, and we may safely run by instruments alone.
And we'll just tear along underwater without being able to see where we're going?
We will remain on our course. Visibility is of no value to us at the moment.
Why, that's wonderful, Joan. This is practically soundproof.
The silence would be perfect, except for the fact that I have one vent open for securing fresh water.
Oh, yeah, how about that water you promised us?
Now, don't worry about that now, Jerry. Let's hope we may hear something from J12C.
Yes, J12C is the call of our home station, Joan. And Johnson also used it when he brought the rescue boat to the Magic Island.
I understand that. We heard all of your messages.
Yeah, I know. Old G47 said he listened to us all the way from Wilmington to Euclidia.
Our arrival wasn't much of a surprise to you, was it, Joan?
No, Mother. Though I had no thought as to what any of you would be like,
Joan, did you have the set changed over in time?
With at least 5 seconds margin, Captain Redford.
5 seconds?
Oh, sure. 5 seconds is a long time to Joan. Wait till I get home, and she has to wait half an hour for a bus on some street corner. She'll find out that seconds don't mean so much.
A second is important.
You're right, of course, Joan. But what Jerry means is that in our world, we treat seconds pretty carelessly.
I'm beginning to learn something of their value now, however. Those 90-second pauses in the Euclidean beam. 90 seconds in which we might hear something from Johnson. They seem awfully short.
Well, I'll say they do. And I'm getting blamed tired of that carrier wave squealing at us all the time.
Now, take it easy, Jerry. As long as we hear that thing every minute and a half, we know the Euclideans have any idea where we are.
You are wise, Captain Tex. Any interruption of that beam might well be fatal to our plans.
Well, I know how serious it is, but the next time you get one of those 90-second pauses, how about making us a drink of water?
The water is being prepared now, Jerry.
Being prepared? How?
Quiet. The beam is gone.
And Johnson's taking a little nap.
Are you trying to pick up a signal on 1 1/2 meters, Joan?
Yes, Mother.
Well, why not try 6 meters again? If that was a very slow boat Johnson was on, he might still be en route to California.
Good idea, Mrs. Gregory.
Yeah, plenty good. We might try alternating between the two bands.
That will not be necessary. I will set the automatic wave selector on those two bands. A signal will register on either.
Is there anything that Euclidean radio won't do?
Apparently not. Are the two bands open now, Joan?
They are.
Yeah, and not a signal from either of them.
Don't be impatient, Jerry. It may take hours to get a signal from Johnson. He might be just landing from that boat. It would take him some time to get to the house and start the other set.
Oh, I think not, Tex. Johnson would surely have radioed my home and given orders for them to try to reach us.
Well, he might not, Mrs. Gregory. Maybe he doesn't want to advertise his business too much.
I think maybe Jerry's right, Pat. Johnson can't say very much over the air without getting the press and commercial radio stirred up. Then he'll have them in his way. Well, we may have to appeal to the government in this before we get through. Johnson knows we want to play a lone hand as long as we can.
I think you will find that your Mr. Johnson is safely in Los Angeles. You must have patience.
I know you think we're very excitable and foolish, Joan, but you're far more accustomed to these happenings than we are.
Hey, there it is again. Another 90 seconds wasted. How about a drink, Joan? Those food tablets we had sure made me thirsty.
That is purely your imagination, Jerry. Those tablets contain enough moisture to sustain you for some hours. However, we will now have some fresh water. You will find drinking vessels in that small sliding receptacle behind you, Mother.
I can reach it easier than you can, Pat. Here they are.
Jerry, you will find a small steel tube directly above the duplicate control on your side.
Right here?
Correct. Will you turn the cap on that tube and fill the cups?
Oh, sure. Hey, this thing acts like a soda fountain.
What is a soda fountain?
Well, you'll find out when we get back home. Here, Mrs. Gregory.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
And here's one for you, Joan.
Thank you, Jerry.
Joan, the radio.
Yes, Mother. I have opened the receiving channel.
Here's a drink for you, Tex.
Thanks, Jerry.
Now, well, I'll get one for myself.
J12C to J24Y. J12C to J24Y. J12C to Captain Bradford.
It's Johnson.
J12C to Gregory Boat. J12C calling Gregory Boat. Wilmington to Gregory Boat.
Wilmington?
No signal from you for hours. Will continue trying to reach you. Making preparations expected of me. Will take 72 hours to complete plans. J12C to J24Y. J12C calling J24Y. Will repeat every 10 minutes. That is all. Johnson.
He's home.
Oh, Tex. Johnson is home. He's home.
And he's working on our plan.
Only 72 hours to finish it, he said.
What did he mean by that?
Tex's formula. Wasn't that it, Tex?
Yes. Johnson knows our only hope to capture Euclidia is to compound my formula and use that as a weapon.
Are you quite sure that Johnson can compound your universal solvent?
Positive. He has the true formula.
Joan. Oh, it's lucky you thought to change that back.
I was so excited I forgot.
It is not wise to put excitement before duty.
Good idea, Joan, if we could always remember it. Well, let's have a drink of the water that was made from salt water on a Euclidean submarine.
You were going to explain how you made it, Joan.
I will do so now, Mother. There is a small channel in the outer shell of the submarine through which a fine stream of salt water rushes at such speed as to reach the boiling point. It is a simple matter to utilize this almost automatic distillation process and draw off a stream of pure, fresh water.
Think of that, Pat. We're racing through the ocean fast enough to make water boil.
Well, it may be my imagination, as Joan said it was with Jerry, or my throat may be dry from excitement, but I certainly need this drink.
So do I. Here goes.
Thanks to Joan and the Euclideans, we can drink fresh water under 8 fathoms of salt water. Well, here's to our safe arrival in Los Angeles.
Hey, my cup's empty.
You emptied it in the excitement of hearing Johnson call.
Well, golly whiskers. All that trouble to get a drink, and I have to spill it.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who today continues his perilous adventure in the strange city of the moon dwellers under the surface of the moon. We'll return to the scene in a moment. But first, a word from our good friend, Dan McCullough.
Say, gang, have you taken stock lately of your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep? Have you counted up to see how near you are to collecting all 18 buttons of the series? Because I'm going to have some exciting news for you next week. I know most of you fellas and girls have probably collected all of these Pep comic buttons. And you're mighty proud of your collection. For good reason, too. Why, these pictures of your favorite funny paper characters are done up in full comic strip colors on gleaming hand-enameled metal buttons that you'll have for a long time. And do they look snappy when you pin them on your jacket or your dress or cap. It's really exciting fun collecting these Pep comic buttons and swapping duplicates with your friends and comparing notes on how many everybody's collected. You won't want to miss out on a single one. And you don't have to either, because these comic buttons are easy to get. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box stamp, and you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to make sure Mom gets you plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Then look for your exclusive prize inside each package you open. Remember, that's P-E-P, Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, The Adventures of Superman. Searching for Poco and Professor Twiddle, who had mysteriously disappeared in a tunnel beneath the surface of the moon, Superman and Jimmy Olsen arrived at an underground city where dwarfed red trees gave off a strange, eerie light. Here, in small wigwam-shaped huts made of meteoric dust, lived the moon dwellers, shaggy, friendly little creatures with long tails and corkscrew noses who appeared to be half man and half monkey. As Superman expected, Poco and the Professor had been brought to the underground city by the curious little creatures who had chosen the roly-poly rhymester as their king. While Jimmy was eating his first food in days, two of the moon dwellers arrived with news which threw the underground community into a frenzy of fear. As we continue now, the moon dwellers are chattering excitedly around Poco. Professor Twiddle, who is seemingly able to understand their peculiar jargon and pantomime, leaves the circle and hurriedly approaches Superman and Jimmy. Listen.
Superman! Jim! Bless my dear, this is terrible! Terrible!
What is, Professor? What's so terrible?
We're lost! We're all lost! You hear me? We're lost!
What do you mean? What happened?
The ant. The what? Is there something wrong with your ears, young man? I said the ants. The former old charter of the Order of Hymenoptera.
Oh, I thought you said ants.
That's exactly what I did say. Oh, we're lost, we're lost.
Wait a minute, Professor.
It's no use, we're lost. I tell you, we're
Will you
lost.
please tell us what you're talking about?
Plus, my dear, how many times must I tell you? The ants. The great primitive red ants. Millions and millions of them.
What about them?
They're on the way here, through the tunnel.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what's all the excitement about? Who's afraid of a lot of ants?
My dear young man, nothing can live in the path of those ants. Absolutely nothing.
Are you kidding?
No, I certainly am not kidding. I said nothing can live in the path of those primitive ants. There was been 100 of the prehistoric monsters Superman just destroyed, and they'll be here in a few minutes.
Now, wait a minute.
I'm afraid we don't have time to wait, Jim, if what Professor Twiddle says is true.
Of course it's true. The two moon dwellers who just arrived saw them approaching. They extend for miles through all the tunnels leading to the city.
Now, wait a minute, Professor. Oh, what tunnels? I thought there was just one. The main one across the moat there and another secret entrance.
Bless me, no. There are dozens of tunnels around the trees, and they're all swarming with armies of great primitive ants.
Great Scott.
I suppose the ant armies are mechanized and have a big air force.
Mechanized? Air Force? Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, you mean they have to walk?
Now, this is no laughing matter, Jim. Ants, especially the Formicoidea of the Order of Hymenoptera, are the most highly developed of all the insects. They have wonderfully organized armies.
Are you kidding?
You'll see for yourself. Now, look, Professor, are you sure they're the great red ants?
I'm positive. They're a primitive type. The moon dwellers killed one and brought it back. I have it right here. Here you are. See for yourself.
What? Great. I never saw an ant that big. Why, it's as long as your thumb. Look at its big feelers.
Mandibles, young man. And they're as sharp as razors. The pain of their sting is almost unbearable, and many of them secrete a venom which paralyzes its victim.
Leaping lizards.
This is the great red ant, all right. I've seen them in South America, and I've seen what they can do.
What do you mean?
I've seen huge ranches, Jim, and plantations after an army of ants such as these swept over. Not a blade of grass was left, or any other living thing.
Huh?
They devour crops, cattle, men, everything. Because they come with the hundreds of millions, Well, you can wipe out 1 million of them, and there are still millions left to do their dirty work.
Well, golly, we've got to do something. If they get into this city, we'll all be cooked geese. Plucked geese would be a better term, young man. Bless my beard, they can make a clean skeleton of a full-grown elephant before you can say Jack Robinson. Jeepers. Did you hear that, Superman?
I heard it.
Well, then why don't you do something? Gee whiz, yes, do something. Bless my beard, do something.
Relax, both of you. Oh, here comes Poco. Maybe he has something to tell us.
Oh, relax, he says. Bless my beard, they'll be here any minute. Millions and millions and millions and...
Oh, woe is me. Such misery. When the ants arrive, we'll be eaten alive.
Take it easy, Poco. Just tell yourself nothing's going to happen.
Oh, how can I tell myself such lies when my stomach is full of butterflies?
It's true. For the time being, we're all protected.
How? Yes, how? Bless my beard, even you can't kill millions and millions of ants when they're coming from all different directions.
I know, but I still say that for the time being, we're...
Hey, the moon wars are going daffy.
Yeah. Right. They're boring underground. Uh-oh, the first ant armies are arriving.
Oh, me, oh, my. I wish I could fly.
They're coming out of the main tunnel. And out of the secret entrance, see them? See how they're grouped like an army?
Bless my beard, yes, sleeping lizards, look at them. They're coming fast. Oh, do something, Superman. Yes, do something.
No, hurry, worry, scurry, scurry.
Don't be frightened. They can't get into the city.
Why not?
Because the moat, the water-filled ditch, surrounds the city on all sides. Ants can't swim.
They can't.
No. Isn't that right, Professor?
No. Yes. No, bless my beard, of course they can.
But they can float across the moat.
They can't float either.
Oh, boy, what a relief. All the little moon guys bored into the ground, Poco. Call them back.
Yes. I'll call them back. We'll have a feast. I'd better take if I had some meat.
Wait a minute. Let's not celebrate yet.
Well, why not? The ants stopped on the other side of the moat. Pretty soon they'll see it's no soap and go away.
I'm not so sure about that. Ants are very stubborn and very intelligent.
You're quite right, Superman. And bless my beard, I just thought of something.
What, Professor?
I've heard of red ants crossing water barriers by sacrificing millions of their numbers in order to provide bridges.
That's true,
What do you
but
mean, Professor? Just what I say, young man. This species of villainous ant has been known to drown by the millions, so that the others can cross the water barrier over their bodies.
Oh, woe is me. More misery.
That moat is only about 12 feet wide and not too deep. A few million drowned ants would make a bridge the others could cross to reach the city. We've got to stop them.
Sure, but how? Yes, bless my beard, how?
Oh, hurry, worry, scurry, scurry.
I don't think the ants stalled at the edge of the moat will sacrifice themselves until the other millions behind them come up and are ready to cross over.
Oh, gosh, you talk as if they had brains.
Well, I told you, Jim, they're highly developed. I'm going into the tunnels and stamp out as many as I can before they reach the ditch.
Wait, that's quite impossible. They'll swarm over you and, well, bless you, in a few minutes there won't be anything left. You'll be a skeleton.
You forget my skin is impenetrable, Professor. Listen now, you three patrol the moat all around the city. I'll be back just as soon as I can. Up and away!
But, dear me, Superman disappeared. Where is he? Where is he? He's going into the main tunnel across the moat. Come on now, Professor. You too, Poco. He told us to patrol the moat. Yes, of course. Patrol the ditch. Yes, indeed. Oh, gosh, look over there. Where that little tunnel is. There's another army of ants. Bless my beard, I told you so. They're in all the tunnels. Millions and millions of them. Millions and millions and millions. You said that before, Professor. Please stop it. Stop what? Stop with it. There's another tunnel. And another army of them coming out of the moat.
And more over there, and there, and there. Oh, Jim, Professor, they're everywhere.
You said millions. There are billions.
Oh, how true, how true. What will we do?
We've got to hope that Superman can stamp them all out in the tunnels before they can reinforce the ones around the moat. That's our only chance. Hey, what's that funny noise? Yes, what is that funny noise? Dear me. Bless my beard. It isn't funny at all. Quite the contrary. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. What is it, Professor? Yes. The Formicoidea, Hymenoptera. Don't you see them? In the little red trees across the moat? In the trees? Oh, yeah. They are climbing the trees. Oh, so what? The trees are on the other side of the moat. Let them climb for all I care. But don't you see what they're doing? What? They're picking leaves. They're biting off the stems and letting the leaves flutter to the ground. Well, what do I care? Yes, my dear, you should care. You certainly should. Why? Because they've outsmarted us, that's why. We haven't a chance now. Not a chance.
Puzzled and alarmed, Jimmy Olsen and Poco wait for the excited Professor Twiddle to explain. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer. Say, gang, do you know why Mom wishes so hard sometimes for spring and summer to come? Well, one reason is this. She knows that you need to be out in the sunshine to make plenty of vitamin D for you. But, you might remind her that you can get your daily minimum need of that same sunshine vitamin D in your big breakfast bowl full of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, your daily minimum need of sunshine vitamin D plus vitamin B1 and energy vitamin, more than twice as much as in sun-ripened whole wheat. Not to mention all the doggone good eating in this sunny golden toasted cereal. And by the way, about those comic buttons you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. It's about time you were getting all 18 buttons in the series. Lots of the kids have them all, sure. And lots more only need, say 1 or 2 buttons to round out the set. Don't you miss out on a single one. Get Winnie Winkle and Moon Mullins and Superman and all the rest. Because I'm going to have some news for you next week that'll really give you a thrill. It's something that you won't want to miss. So remind Mom to put Kellogg's Pep on her shopping list. Because that's the only way you can get these snappy comic buttons. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's an exclusive prize for you when you open each package of P.E.P. Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
As millions of savage red ants massed at the edges of the water-filled moat surrounding the Moon Dwellers' city, and Superman was battling millions more inside the tunnels leading to the city, Professor Twiddle observed armies of the murderous little insects in the dwarfed trees across the moat. Alarmed, he told Jimmy Olsen and Poco,
Yes, my dear, this means the end of us.
What do you mean, the end, my friend?
Just because the ants are eating the leaves of the trees.
I told you they are not eating the leaves, young man. They're gnawing through the stalks of the leaves. The leaves themselves are being preserved. Don't you see them fluttering to the ground?
Yeah, it looks like a snowstorm. I mean a leaf storm. But what of it?
What of it, he asked. Are you blind? Can't you see what the other ants are doing with the leaves that are falling from the trees?
Oh, they dragged them away. It's a game they play.
A game? You call it a game? Why,
wait a minute. They're dragging the leaves to the moat.
Of course they are.
They're pushing them into the water.
Exactly. They're going to use the leaves as boats and ferry themselves across the moat to our city.
Oh, well, no.
See? Some of them are already climbing aboard.
Please. They'll be over in no time. And Superman isn't here to help us. What'll we do, Professor? What'll we do?
Rooted to the spot, Jimmy Olsen stares in frightened fascination as the amazingly clever red ants drop leaf after leaf into the moat, scurry down the steep bank, and climb aboard. What can be done to stop them? Tomorrow's episode has a thrill a minute, gang, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman. Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature, appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, get a load of this. Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the famous variety carton of 6 swell Kellogg cereals in 10 separate packages. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. With Kellogg's Variety on the table, you can choose among Kellogg's Rice Krispies, Pep, Corn Flakes, Shredded Wheat Crumbles, and 40% Bran Flakes. Simply help yourself to your favorite. Each box holds a fresh, crisp, heaping portion. So ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents the adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who today pulls Jim and Professor Twiddle out of one predicament, only to land them in an equally serious one. We'll return to the scene in a moment. But first, let's lend an ear to our good friend, Dan McCullough. Nowadays, gang, the theme is hurry, hurry, hurry. See if you can be the first in your crowd to collect all 18 of these exciting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Get your collection complete before I bring you some exciting news next week. Think how proud you'd feel with all those bright-colored gleaming buttons pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. And you'd be the first to have them all. So if you have a duplicate or two that you haven't traded yet, better hop to it. Shop around and see which one of your pals has a pet comic button that you need to swap. And you'll want to be on hand, too, for that exciting moment when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep to see which button is inside. Maybe Winnie Winkle or a Smiling Jack, looking so powerful and handsome in his bright blue jersey and flying red cape. Yes, sir, every single one of these pet comic buttons is a real eye-catcher. You won't want to miss out on any of them. What's more, you don't have to because they're easy as anything to get.
You don't have to send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. They come only as prizes in packages of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pet. Tell Mom you'll eat lots of P-E-P, Pet, the Sunshine Cereal, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman. In the underground city of the curious little moon dwellers, where Superman and Jimmy Olsen found Poco and Professor Twiddle, a new and terrible threat menaces our friends. Countless millions of primitive red ants, savage creatures who devour everything in their path, have attacked the city. For a brief time, they were stopped by the moat, a water-filled ditch surrounding the city, while Superman streaked away to the underground tunnels to battle the great hordes of approaching reinforcements. But the amazingly ingenious ants soon found another way to attain their objective. Swarming into the dwarfed red trees beyond the moat, they began to cut down leaves, which other ants transported through the moat. Then clouds of the creatures, each as long as a man's thumb and armed with long razor-sharp jaws, climbed aboard the leaves and began to ferry themselves across the moat. As we continue now, Jimmy, Poco, and the Professor fearfully watch their approach. Listen.
They'll be over here in a minute, and Superman is in the tunnel. What do we do, Professor? What do we do?
Oh, woe is me. Such misery. What can we do, young man? I said, what can we do?
We've got to do something, Professor. You said ants eat everything.
Yes, indeed, everything. Bless my beard. These great primitive red ants can reduce a full-grown elephant to a skeleton before you can say Jack Robinson.
Well, just don't stand there and tell me about it. Do something. For Pete's sake, do something.
Let me see. What do you suggest I do, young man?
I don't know, but... Wait. I've got an idea.
You have?
Come on, both of you. Get busy.
Bless my beard. Why are you digging up the ground?
Don't ask questions. Help me, will you? Hurry up. Dig with me.
But why? What for? He's trying to burrow under the ground, like the moon dwellers do, so he won't be found.
No,
that's impossible. He hasn't a corkscrew drilling appendage for a nose. And anyway,
Will you two stop talking and get to work? Dig up pieces of dirt, stones, anything. Hurry, will you?
What for, pray tell? What for?
Well, can't you see? We can throw them at the leaves the ants are coming over on and sink them. Watch, I'll show you.
Bless my beard.
Oh, a couple of them are almost over on this side. Here goes. That takes care of one rat.
Now the other. Bless my beard. He's found two of the leaves and the creatures are drowning.
Here comes another one. Hurrah, hooray. You saved the day.
Well, it isn't saved yet.
I'm out of ammunition. Hurry up. Get some earth and stones. Start digging.
Oh, hurry, worry. Hurry.
You two keep digging. I'll try to hold them up. Getting ready to land, huh? This'll stop you. Quiet side, huh? See how you like this. And this. Come on, Poco. Professor, more ammunition.
Oh, dear. Here.
Attaboy, Poco, just in time.
There you are.
Get two more.
Look, three of them.
Where?
Over there.
Oh, I see him. Bombs away.
There. Look, my dear, you sent them over.
Yeah, but there are others coming over. Quick, give me whatever you've dug, Professor.
Oh, yes, here.
Now dig some more.
Here goes.
Him. Here comes some more, just about to reach the door. Okay, I'll get him, Poco. Let him choose under the drain spout.
Wonderful, young man. Wonderful. Here is more ammunition.
Hold it. I don't see any more leaves coming over. We've won. They're finished and done. Oh, don't kid yourself, Poco. Those ants haven't given up yet. Look across the moat.
Bless my beard. They're preparing to launch more leaves.
Oh, woe is me. More misery. Come on. We've got to get busy and have lots of ammunition ready for them. Hurry, worry. Try to get big pieces of earth, like this.
You mean pieces of moon, young man?
Okay, moon. No, besides, I wish Superman would get back. Those ants are too smart.
Yes, indeed. The pharmacoidiot Hymenoptera is amazing intelligent. You know, young man, in their communities there are ant farmers, and cows, and soldiers, and...
Well, save the lecture for some other time, Professor. Here come the ants again. Now, oh, heavens, this time there are plenty of them. 5, 10, 15, 20 of them. Holy smokes. There are too many for me to handle alone. Hey, you two will have to do some pitching, too. Come on.
Pitch? I don't know if I can, young man. As I remember, when I was a boy, I was a second baseman.
Well, you're a pitcher now, Professor. And you better be good or it'll be too bad.
That sentence doesn't make any sense, young man.
Here they come. Quick, Professor. You stand a few yards down the bank.
Yes.
And you stand over there, Poco. I hope to be Jim without you, Jim. Thanks, Poco. Okay. They're close enough now. Let them have it, men.
Good
Good work, Professor. Keep firing. Sink, drown, die, Lieutenant. You won't get us to be your dinners. Hello, boy, Poco. I'm going to sign you up for the Dodgers. Give it to him. I'll take another one. Keep pitching, Professor. Jim, old pal, you're going great. Each time you slow, just think about Avo or holding him off. Keep firing. Don't stop. No, don't stop. One lead comes to your way of finish. Hold position. There's no ammunition. Dig some more, Poco. Hurry. Look, my dear, I've run out of ammunition, too. The ants are positively swarming toward my sector. But they're swarming in here, too. So bless my soul. Dig. Dig. It's no use. The leaves are coming over by the hundreds now. What can we do? I'm afraid we can't do anything, Professor. I'm afraid we're lit. Finished. Washed up.
Dismayed, Jimmy Olsen, Poco, and Professor Twiddle look on helplessly as hundreds of the small leaf rats, each crowded with the savage red ants, move swiftly across the moat. We'll return in a moment for the dramatic climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer. You know, every stout-hearted fellow or girl wants to help when there's trouble and unhappiness around. For instance, when you hear about boys and girls, just like you in countries where there isn't enough to eat or enough clothes to wear, or when you think about our own servicemen and veterans in hospitals here at home, well, you want to do something to help. And you can, too. In fact, a lot of you have been helping right along as members of the Junior Red Cross. Yes, sir, everybody knows that the Junior Red Cross has done a wonderful job making comfort articles for hospital patients and serving as nurses' aides and making up gift boxes for children overseas, doing dozens of important and constructive jobs. And everybody wants the Junior Red Cross to keep right on in its swell work. So don't let up for a single minute. First of all, be an active member of the Junior Red Cross and give to the 1946 Red Cross Drive. Now, back to the adventures of Superman. After fighting off swarms of leaf rats carrying clusters of savage red ants across the water-filled moat, Jimmy Olsen, Poco, and Professor Twiddle realized the ingenious creatures had again outwitted them by launching hundreds of the rafts along the entire length of the moat.
Well, the three of us can't possibly defend this whole side of the moat. We're done for. Oh, no, say not so.
I'm afraid Jim is right, Poco. In a moment, the creatures will be swarming ashore. Bless my beard, what's that?
Oh, a flying creature in red and blue. Oh, James, my friend, can it be true?
You bet it's true.
It's Superman. He got here just in time. Look at him wade through the moat. He's sinking all the rats.
Bless my soul, he is.
How big you say, oh, fabulous night. This is a moment of delight.
Oh, you said it, Poco. Oh, boy, we're saved. We're saved.
You didn't get here a minute too soon, Superman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Just a moment. We're not out of the woods yet.
Oh, sure we are. You sank all of the leaves.
I know,
Couldn't they send any more over? Well, bless my dear, you'll sink them, too.
I'm afraid not.
Huh? What do you mean?
Just this, Jim. This underground city is several miles in circumference, and the moat extends all around it.
Oh, sure, I know.
Let me finish with you. The ants are massed by the millions all around the moat, and they're preparing to launch those leaves from everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yes, from everywhere, Professor. From every inch of the miles around this moat. And I can't possibly be everywhere at once. Some of the leaves are bound to get across. And you know what that means.
I certainly do. Bless my beard.
We haven't time to bless your beard now. There's only one thing to do.
What?
We've got to get you all up to the surface of the moon. Where are all the moon dwellers, Poco?
All around, hiding in the ground.
Get them out. Jim, Professor, get under my cape. I'm going to blast away up to the surface. Then I'll be back for Poco and the moon dwellers. Hurry now, under my cape.
Okay. Come on, Professor.
Bless my beard, how?
Don't stop to ask questions. Poco, get those moon dwellers up.
Up with you. Up with you. Out of the ground. Up with you, all of you. Gather around.
Hang on, Jim. Professor, here we go. Up! There, we're on the surface.
It's dark.
Yes, night must have fallen.
And gosh, it's cold.
Yes.
I can't stand it.
Bless my beard. It must be 200 degrees below zero.
Great Scott, it does get that cold in the moon at night. Neither of you can stay alive up here. But you can't stay alive under the surface either because of the ants. What can I do? Great Scott, what can I do? Trapped by the unbearable cold on the bleak surface of the moon and by the murderous red ants below, Superman is stymied. How can he save Jim, Poco, and the Professor? Seconds count, and the Man of Steel's mind races furiously, seeking a solution. There are thrills and more thrills tomorrow, fellows and girls. So be sure to listen. Tune in. Same time, same station.
for the adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's Wayne. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature, appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, you'll get a bang out of this. Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the grand 10-package assortment of 6 swell Kellogg cereals. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Makes it easy for Mom, too. No dishes to wash, thanks to the new Kell Bowl Pack. You can eat right out of it. What's more, these generous packages are great for lunchboxes and outings. So ask Mom to hurry and get Kellogg's Variety at the grocer's her very first chance. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You, finding life rather dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else, we offer you escape.
Escape with us now to Malaya, where a young doctor and a beautiful girl are faced with the horrors of plague and the bloody holocaust of a native revolt, as Charles Israel tells it in Funeral Fires.
Burning the dead. The column of flames sucked up against the night sky of the river town, leaned against it, held. And from far away, the dirge, the Malays mourning their dead. Then, drifting down to the landing where I stood, somehow the word, always the word in Malay and Chinese and English, plague. Plague had come to Lahore. Plague. That's why I was here. All the way from Delhi I'd come, my plague serum and I. The police lieutenant who met me at the rickety little wharf had been there for 5 days already. He was very young, and he didn't like his job.
Rather awful show, this. Don't you think so, sir?
And it's going to get worse.
You've brought serum, sir. That should do the trick.
It should, but it's not that easy. Every time a native sees a needle, he takes off for the hills, thinks it's something to kill him quicker.
Not these natives, sir. There was a plague epidemic here about 15 years ago. Serum wiped it out. The natives call it foreign devil medicine, but they respect it.
That's good. It'll save us some time.
Oh, there'll be a boy here in a minute for your luggage.
Good.
I'm glad you've finally arrived, sir. It's good to have a doctor here.
Well, they told me there was a doctor here. A Dr. Grimes.
Well, it says doctor on his sign, sir.
Fine. Need his help.
I wouldn't count on it, sir.
Why not?
You'll see, sir.
What are you talking about?
Wait till you meet Dr. Grimes. If you want a bit of free advice, sir, I'd rely more on Miss Randall.
Miss Randall? Who's she?
An American, sir.
An American? Well, what's she doing here?
I don't know, sir, but she walked in and took over the whole ruddy show. Converted an old warehouse into a hospital. Been slaving day and night. Wonderful, sir.
Lieutenant! Someone's calling you, Lieutenant.
You'll find me.
Who?
Compatriot of yours.
Oh, there you are, Lieutenant. I've looked all over town for you. Now I'd like to know who's allowed all this. You responsible for this, Lieutenant? Responsible for what, Mr. Ford?
For this here funeral business. Every native in Lepore down there by that fire.
Is there anything wrong with that, Mr. Ford?
I'll tell the world there's something wrong. My whole night, every last man, down there singing and carrying on.
I'm afraid I can't stop them, Mr. Ford.
You better stop them, Lieutenant. Get down there and send them back on the job.
He can't stop them, Ford.
Huh? Who are you?
My name is Donovan, Dr. Mark Donovan.
So your name is Donovan. So that don't give you a right to... Hey, wait a minute. Holy smoke, man. You're an American.
That's right.
Well, now, that's different. Shake hands, Doc. Holy smoke. Why didn't you say so? Ford is my moniker. That name is American as the hole in the lifesaver. Oscar R. Ford, Cleveland, Ohio. Ever been to Cleveland, Doc?
What are you doing in Lepore, Ford?
Rubber. On a rubber plantation near here. Best little outfit in the whole shebang. And you know why, Doc? Because it's run by an American, that's why. Efficiency. Say, Doc, you'll get my men back to work, won't you?
I'm here to wipe out plague in Lepore, Ford.
Oh, sure, Doc. That's what I mean. Wipe out the plague. We'll show him, Doc. And if you need help, you can count on Oscar R. Ford. Remember that, Doc.
Yeah. I'll call you when I need you. Lieutenant?
Yes, sir?
I'll be going over to the hospital.
Right, sir. Straight down this road, sir. You can't miss it.
Thanks. I'll let you know when we're ready to set up our serum station.
Right you are, sir.
I left him standing there with Ford and walked through the town. Everywhere I turned, I brushed against death. It got into my nostrils, crept into the lining of my clothes. The deserted streets shrieked of it. So did a ravaged face seen through the door of a straw hut. Plague. And only the serum I brought with me could stop it. I walked into the warehouse that had been converted into a hospital. Rows of people lying on the wooden floor, hundreds of them, the dying and the dead. Then I saw her, the lieutenant's girl, on her knees beside a dying man. She looked up at me.
Hand me that cloth, please.
This one?
No, not that one. There, in the basin. Drain out the water first.
Miss Randall?
Yes? What do you want?
My name is Mark Donovan. I've just come in from Delhi.
That's fine. I'm busy.
I'm a doctor.
Did you bring the serum with you?
Yes?
Well, get it and get to work.
Miss Randall, I'm in charge here now.
I'm sorry. It's just that I'm tired.
I know. I need your help. We're going to set up a serum station.
It's about time. When do we start?
As soon as we can get organized.
Good.
Oh, by the way, Miss Randall, is Dr. Grimes around?
The rum pot?
The resident medical officer.
Look, if you want to find Grimes, there's only one gin parlor in Lepore. They call it the Nine Dragons. He'll be there.
Thanks. Miss Randall?
Yes?
Get yourself some sleep, huh?
Sure, Doctor. As soon as they stop dying.
Hey, you there, boy. You seen Dr. Grimes?
Dr. Grimes, sir, you will find him there, sir, at that corner table.
Oh, thanks. You're Dr. Grimes?
What if I am? Who wants to know?
I'm Dr. Mark Donovan, World Health Organization. I just got in from Delhi.
Hey, well, now, that's a fancy introduction, laddie. That's worth the drink. Here, laddie. God, drink up.
No, thanks.
Didn't be that way, laddie. Take it.
No, thanks.
Take a glass, laddie. Take it, and we'll have a wee toast. That'll be the ticket. Wee toast.
I said no.
You didn't have to knock the drink from my hand, laddie.
Dr. Grimes, how soon can you be ready to give plague injections?
There's no blasted plague here, young man.
You're drunk.
I say there's no plague here. No plague, you hear? That's what I say, and that's what I mean.
Come on, Grimes, we'll get some coffee.
Ah, you're insolent, young man. I'm in charge here.
Let's go, Grimes.
You come to send a bad report on me, have you not? Aye. Well, you'll not do it.
I said come on.
Right. I'm coming, young man. I'm coming.
Put that knife away.
I'm coming right at you, laddie.
I told you to put that knife away. Get up.
You won't send a bad report on me, now, will you, laddie? Now, you tell me you won't.
Get up.
Now, what is it you want from me, laddie?
Meet me at the hospital in 1 hour. We're going to begin shooting serum.
Anything you say, laddie, only if you please, no bad report.
Just be there.
I'll be there.
I looked back at him. He was standing propped up against the table, staring at me. He was grinning like a great, evil cat. Grinning. I walked through the swinging doors into the street. Outside was silence. The cool silence just before dawn. I stood there, letting it surround me.
Don't be rude, Mr. Wu.
He stood barring my way. On his shoulder was perched a tiny black monkey. The Chinese leaned his face close to mine.
Please to talk with me. And if you are kind, also with Mr. Wu.
Another time, huh? I'm in a big hurry.
Mr. Wu is my greatest friend, the ruler of King Tosh Pet Shop. I am Kung.
I'm sorry,
Please.
but...
No, Dr. Donovan. It is to save your life that I desire to enter into conversation.
How do you know my name?
I know many things. Please to talk with me.
All right. We'll make it quick.
To waste time is not Countess West. To hold time is his greatest ambition. Is it not, Mr. Wu?
Go ahead, Mr. Kung.
My father was Chinese. My mother, Malay. Why the Chinese and love poor choose not to tell, I learned from the family of my mother.
Look, Mr. Kung.
If you value your life, leave La Poor. Leave at once.
What are you talking about? Why should I leave?
What a pity, Doctor. Mr. Wu says he's tired.
No, just a minute, Mr. Kung. We haven't finished talking yet.
Another time, other doctor. Mr. Wu says he must go now. Say goodbye, Mr. Wu.
He backed away from me, nodding and bowing, the monkey on his shoulder doing the same. I turned and started for the hotel. Dawn was coming. The funeral fires were spent, the dirges finished, the Malays gone back to their huts to sleep. It was almost daylight when I climbed the stairs and walked down the hall to my room.
I've been waiting for you. Where have you been?
What are you doing here, Miss Randall?
I'm here. That's enough.
I asked you why you're here.
To help with the serum. You're going to need help, aren't you?
Yes?
Good. Well, do we get the serum?
Remind me to ask you a question, Miss Randall.
Like what?
Like, what brought you to Lepore?
I'll remind you. The serum, Doctor.
All right. Here in this closet.
Yes? Doctor, what's the matter? Doctor.
What?
I said, what's the matter with you?
The serum.
What about it?
It's been stolen.
Escape under the direction of Norman MacDonald returns in just a moment. The new CBS comedy star, Frank Fontaine, will pay a visit to CBS's Jack Benny this evening. The young comedian, who's celebrated for his impression of a sweepstakes winner and for his other impressions, will be given a royal welcome, even though Jack believes in buying a sweepstakes ticket only when a single horse is in the race. Mary, Dennis, Don, Phil, and Rochester will be on hand, too. So join the fun that only the Jack Benny Show can bring tonight on CBS. And now, back to Escape.
When they sent me from Delhi to Lahore, they said it was plague. And they said it was bad. Now I was here, and it was the way they said it would be. Plague and bad. Only from here on, it was going to be worse, because the serum I brought with me was gone. Someone had stolen it from the closet where I'd locked it. Someone who wanted to keep the plague in Lahore. I stood there in my hotel room, staring into the empty closet.
How long are you going to stand there, Doctor?
I can't believe it.
Face it. There's no serum.
Well, it was there. I put it there myself, right next to that bromoquinine.
Cold tablets won't stop a plague, Doctor.
I said I put it there.
I heard you, but I don't have to believe you.
I don't care what you believe.
Maybe you sold the serum before you ever came to Lahore. Maybe you're trying to cover yourself.
Sold it? Why would I want to do that?
How do I know why you'd sell it? You'd have an angle.
All right, you said what you wanted to say. Get out.
All right, I'm going.
Oh, wait a minute. I'll ask you a question.
And I'll give you an answer. The police, Lieutenant. That's where I'm going.
How long were you in my room before I got here?
I'm going to the police, Doctor.
How long were you here?
You won't get out of it.
How long?
I don't know. 15 minutes, maybe 20. Not very long.
Long enough to take the serum yourself.
Sure. I was here that long.
Long enough to hide it and then come back here.
You're forgetting something.
Like what?
I had no reason to take it.
You've got a reason.
Like what?
What are you doing in Lahore?
Maybe I write books.
Maybe you steal serum.
You'd better get that serum back, Doctor. There are people dying. It's your fault. Get it back. Goodbye, Doctor.
And I had a couple of things to do. Ask the lieutenant to organize a search patrol. Cable Delhi for more serum. 4 days it would take to get here. 4 days of raging death. Because I had no serum, people would die before the sun went down. People who didn't have to die. And Miss Randall had said it. It was my fault. All right, just a minute.
Master, you no move. You listen.
Who are you?
Number 1 boy in shop of 1 Conte.
Conte. Oh, the old man with the monkey?
What same? Conte.
All right. You got a message? What is it?
Conte say, Master pay $5. Here, message.
Here. Now, what's the message?
Conte say, he no Master have trouble. Conte say, Master, come see him chop. No come chop, too late.
Is that all?
Him say, come chop. Chop, Master.
Anything was worth a try. I found Conte's pet shop in a narrow, musty street just off the marketplace. It wasn't difficult to pick out because there was a crowd jammed around the door. Holding them back were 2 Malay police. I pushed through the crowd and up to the open door.
Oh, good morning, sir. I didn't expect to see you.
Oh, it's about, Lieutenant.
You haven't heard, sir?
Heard what?
About the unpleasantness.
What unpleasantness? What are you trying to tell me?
You'd better come inside with me, sir.
All right. Now, what's this unpleasantness you're talking about?
Right over there, sir. In the corner.
Conte. What happened, Lieutenant?
Murder? A large caliber bullet, I'd say. Probably a .45. You want to examine him, sir?
No, that won't be necessary.
Quite right, sir. You know, I can't understand it.
What?
You see, sir, besides yourself, there are only 3 foreigners in that pool. Miss Randall, Mr. Ford, and Dr. Grant.
Well?
Well, that's it, sir. Why should one of them want to kill the old man?
How do you know it was one of them?
A weapon. Native skill with a knife for a rope. Mostly a rope. Never with a gun.
Yes, that's interesting, Lieutenant. And there's something else I don't think natives do.
What's that, sir?
Steal serum.
I meant to ask you about the serum, sir. Miss Randall mentioned it to me. There's going to be trouble, sir.
With Miss Randall?
with the natives, sir. I told you they were waiting for medicine. Somehow it's gotten out of them. They know you don't have the serum.
They're right, Lieutenant. It's been stolen. Look, I want all the foreigners in the floor at your office an hour from now. Can you arrange it?
Yes, sir. You think there's some connection?
Between the murder and the serum? Maybe. Can you have them there?
If you don't mind my saying so, this sounds like a police matter.
You're wrong, Lieutenant. It's medical. Strictly medical.
I don't understand, sir.
You will. Just get those people to your office,
Yes, sir. Miss Randall, Mr. Ford, and Dr. Grimes.
You forgot somebody, Lieutenant.
Who, sir?
You?
Me, sir? Quite right. I forgot, sir.
I turned and walked out of the shop into the street. I had trouble getting through the crowd. It didn't mean much when somebody poked an elbow in my face. That could have been an accident, but not the man who jumped out in front of me and spat on the ground at my feet. This was no accident. This was meant for me. All at once, they were silent, watching me. Then from the hills outside the town, the sound of a drum, slow, ominous. And from somewhere in Lepore itself, the answer, urgent, threatening. Finally, I understood. It had gotten out to the natives. Somehow the people had found out that I had lost the serum, and in their minds I was the medicine man who had failed, the man who was making them die. My plan for getting the serum back had to work. I picked up my medical bag from the hotel, hurried to the lieutenant's office, a one-room wooden shack near the edge of town. I had things almost set up when the first person arrived. It was Miss Randall.
What's all this about? What are you trying to do?
It'll take a little while, Miss Randall. Sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
She stood and watched me take things out of my bag and place them on the table. The hypodermic syringes, needles, alcohol, and finally the little vial of colorless liquid. Then Dr. Grimes came in, cold sober. He walked across the room, sat down where he could look at me.
The natives know something, laddie. Something you didn't want them to know. They're heading this way. Aye.
Take your hands off! I had a little trouble with this one, sir.
And you're gonna have more, so help me.
Sit down, Ford.
Why, you little two-bit quack,
I said sit down.
Well,
That's better.
well, laddie, you've got us all here. Now perhaps you'll tell us why.
There is an epidemic on. I'm going to inoculate all of you with plague serum.
What are you talking about? You haven't got any serum.
Just this one vial from my bag, Miss Randall. The rest was stolen. All right, Ford, you're first. Roll up your sleeve. That's right. Now. It wasn't that bad, Ford. All right, now you, Miss Randall.
You're gentle, Doctor.
Grimes.
Aye, laddie, get it over with. Yeah.
Okay, Doc. Now we've had the shots. How to go now?
Just a minute. Nobody leaves here.
Oh,
wait
a minute.
I said nobody leaves here. Lieutenant, stand by the door.
Yes, sir.
What's the big idea?
This morning somebody stole plague serum from my room. I want that serum back.
That's your worry, Doctor.
Yeah. My worry and yours now. All of you. Because one of you took that serum.
You're off your rocker, Doc.
Maybe you took it, Ford. You got a rubber plantation. You could shoot your workers full of serum.
What would I want to do that for?
Oh, efficiency, Ford. The workers on the other plantations would die, and you'd have the field to yourself. Or you, Grimes. You were afraid I'd tell your head office about you.
I know you're wrong, laddie.
You've had it pretty good till now, haven't you? No work, plenty of gin. You were afraid I'd spoil it. So you thought you'd make it look bad for me, too.
No, laddie, you've got it wrong.
All right, Doc, you've got us here. Now, what are you going to do?
I've already done it.
You've done what?
That injection I gave all of you, it wasn't serum. That was plague bacteria. Straight plague.
So, What does that mean, Doc?
Well, it means I have to get that serum within an hour. Otherwise, every one of you is going to get plague. That's right. And think about it. Plague. Pain a human can't stand. Then when you get used to it, you die. Each one of you.
This is ridiculous.
You're going to die, all of you, because there's no serum. Serum would save you. Serum I haven't got.
Look, Doctor, those sick people at the hospital, they need me. Let me go there.
You forget, Miss Randall, you're sick, too. You've got plague. You're going to die.
I'm not forgetting. Let me go to the hospital, Doctor. Please.
Now, what could you do there? Put cold towels on their heads? It doesn't help.
It doesn't help much. I know that. They die just the same. But at least they're comfortable.
Don't do it, Doc. Don't let her go. It ain't right. If she goes, we all go.
You keep out of this. Doctor, please.
I can't, Miss Randall. Mr. Ford says it wouldn't be right to let you go.
Keep it here, Doc. Here with the rest of us.
I told you to keep out of it.
You want to weasel on me, don't you?
You're a fool. Fat and a fool.
Yeah. I'd be a fool to let you get out of here.
Doctor?
You'll stay here, Miss Randall.
But there's no point in...
You heard what the doc says. Stay here.
This is your fault, Ford. It's all your fault, the whole thing.
I said shut up!
You trying to say something, Miss Randall?
I've got nothing to say.
All right. We'll wait. We'll wait here as long as...
Hey, ropes, lady. They're pulling ropes.
Ford,
What do you want?
how do you feel?
I feel all right.
That's funny. You're sweating. Well, if you say you feel all right, fine. Because in a little while you won't feel so good. And you won't feel anything. You'll be dead. Have anything to tell me, Ford? All right. We'll wait.
Doctor. Nothing.
All right. You're going to die, Miss Randall.
I want to die. Don't let me die.
Where's the serum?
Make him tell. Make Ford tell where it is.
He's crazy.
Tell him how you paid me to steal it.
Don't listen to her.
Tell him, Ford, you wanted the serum for your own workers. You killed Conte because he found out. You!
Don't move, Ford! Keep him covered, Lieutenant. All right, Ford, where's that serum?
How do you like that? Just a day.
The serum, Ford, what is it?
It's in my house, the living room. Under the floorboard.
Get it, Doctor. I don't want to die. Please. Please.
Lieutenant, you speak Malay? Yes, sir. Get out there and tell those people they'll have serum in 30 minutes.
Right, sir. Pleasure.
And take these two with you.
You're a hard one, laddie.
You ready for work, Grimes?
But laddie, you'll be taking care of me first, will you not?
Oh, you're taken care of, Grimes.
Aye, I'm taking care of. You fill me full of plague.
Oh, not plague. Water.
Water?
Yeah, water. Don't worry, it was distilled.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Funeral Fires by Charles Israel. Lamont Johnson was starred as Mark, with Georgia Ellis as the girl Alice. Featured in the cast were Don Diamond, Ben Wright, Wilms Herbert, and Leon Lontock. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Ivan Ditmars.
Next week, escape with us to the barren wastes of northern Mexico, and the story of $1 million in cash to be had for the asking, if you live, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting story, This Side of Nowhere.
Wouldn't you like to help wipe out tuberculosis? Wouldn't you like to help those now afflicted with the dread disease and prevent others from getting it? All the wonderful work carried on by the National Tuberculosis Association is financed by the sale of the Christmas seals you buy each year. So don't forget, help to fight TB by putting a Christmas seal on every letter you write. Escape is one of the fine programs the CBS brings you every Sunday afternoon. On most of these same stations, you can also hear the New York Philharmonic Symphony, the Symphonette, the Arthur Godfrey Digest, the new Meet Frank Sinatra Show, Earn Your Vacation, and Make Believe Town. Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town, which follows immediately on most of these same CBS stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, where you spend an hour with Frank Sinatra every Sunday afternoon on the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Of the everyday routine. Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape with us now to the barren wastes of northern Mexico and the story of a fortune in cash to be had for the asking, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting story, This Side of Nowhere.
You want to know where you can pick up $250,000? Well, I know a place. The money's in $100 bills. The last time I saw it, it was all in one place, and the people who had it were the friendliest people in the world. That is, if you don't mind their particular kind of friendship. There hadn't been much business in Missouri. Too much competition, and the yokels were spoiled, taking rides in the new stuff flying around. My old Stinson didn't look like much, and I couldn't risk doing tricks in her. With me, when the customer paid $3 for a ride, that's what he got. A ride. So there wasn't much business in Missouri. I've been luckier in Kansas, though. Hit a couple of towns where a plane is still a fancy contraption. As I headed west, I was a couple of bucks ahead. About 50 miles east of Wichita, I put down in a grass field outside Willie. And I figured a day or so here would get me enough to buy a new tire for the right week.
Well, hello there. Is this your field? Hey, that was pretty. Coming down out of the sky like that, I've seen you from a long way.
You like planes, huh?
Sure.
Is this your field?
Yep. Down Fur's Golden Stream.
Well, look, I'd like to make a deal with you.
And so?
I'll be here for a couple of days. Let me keep the plane here, and I'll give you $5.
5? Well...
And a free ride.
Mister, you got a deal. My name is Bill Maydew. Kate.
I put up my posters in town and waited, and by 6 o'clock that night I made $36. It looked as if the town of Willing would keep me around for maybe 3 or 4 days. I put the Stinson to bed in Bill Maydew's barn and then started out to find a place for myself. The old man walked along with me. Say, have you got any suggestions where I can put up while I'm here?
See that flying red horse sign up there?
Yeah?
Yeah. Right across the street is Maydew's Willing Hotel. Nice and quiet. $2 a night. Breakfast 50 cents.
Oh, yours, huh?
Yeah, it ain't fancy, but it's restful. Got a city woman staying there, down from Kansas City.
No?
Taking a rest.
Oh, that sounds fine.
Hey, we're having steak for dinner. I'll get the wife to put on an extra one for you.
With the steak inside, I felt pretty good. About an hour after dinner, I got a look at the hotel's other guest. She was tall, with a big, city, dry, crisp figure, and special-looking, too. She didn't seem to notice me as she went over to the desk and started to write a letter. I got quiet, and along about 9 o'clock, I was ready to hit the hay.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
You're the man with the plane, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. Name's Gannett.
Mr. Maydew told me about you.
Oh?
I'm Phyllis Naylor.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
I wonder if you'd do me a favor.
Why, sure.
I wanted to go to Wichita tomorrow, but the bus service is so bad I'd have to wait until afternoon.
Oh, you want me to fly you?
Yes.
Well, that's about 50 miles. I'd lose business here.
I'll pay you $50.
50? I wouldn't lose that much. Let's make it 25.
If that's what you want. Can we leave early?
Anytime. 7, okay?
I'll meet you down here at 7.
All right. So long.
You all set, Miss Naylor? Shall I put your suitcase on the plane?
Oh, no thanks, Mr. Maydew. I can manage.
We'll miss you. Come visit us again sometime.
Yes, I will.
Well, let's go.
I'll just come along and keep you company, Mr. Gannett.
Okay, it's all right with me.
No, I'd rather he didn't.
Well, it's your ticket. Anything you say. I'll take you up when I come back, Bill. A couple of hours, huh?
I'll wait for you.
I'll go be up to business, huh? So long. Have you done much flying?
Quite a bit.
Oh? Do any yourself?
Yes.
Oh, swell. Would you like to move up here beside me and take over?
Oh, no thanks.
Oh.
Mr. Gannett,
Yeah?
how much would you want to fly me to Mexico?
Are you kidding?
No. Don't you think it might be nice?
Oh, sure, but not in this crate. Short hops for me. Try the airline in Wichita.
I can pay.
I'll bet you can, but not me. The old windmill wouldn't take it.
$5,000?
Right?
I could buy a ticket, but I prefer you to take me.
Oh? Why?
Maybe because I like you?
I'm glad. Look, are you in trouble?
Of course not.
Then why don't you use the scheduled line?
That's not your business. I've got the cash. Will you do it?
No, you better try somebody else.
We're not going to land Wichita.
Now, that's what you think.
I've got a gun, Mr. Gannett. Don't turn around. Here.
Hey, look, now be a good girl, will you? We've only got enough gas to get to Wichita.
You're lying. The gauge says full.
Well, it's broken.
I'll take a chance.
We can't make it in one hop. I'll have to come down sometime.
That's all right.
You don't want to get me in trouble, do you?
No. I told you I like you. Just as long as you take me where I want to go. Head south. Go on.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
Torreon.
That's over 1,000 miles. We'll never make that.
I think we can. Where do you think you'll have to stop to refuel?
I guess we can make Dallas if we don't blow up.
All right. Please remember, Mr. Gannett, I'm quite serious. I can easily shoot you and fly myself. I'd rather not.
Yeah. I'll remember. An hour later, we were flying over Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I turned around just once to look at her. She hadn't been bluffing. The gun lay in her hand, steady and pointed at me. I began to think about Dallas. We'd have to come down there. It wouldn't be hard to get the gun away from her then, but there was something else. $5,000. I thought of what I could do with it, and the more I thought, the more I wondered if I was a sucker. Why fly with a gun in your back when you can make a deal just for the asking? She was in trouble, that was her business. I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't want to. I reached for the map.
What are you doing?
Don't get nervous, honey. I just want to take a look at the map.
Oh.
Torreon, huh? Yeah. Cayenne. Well, I'd say that's about 300 miles below the border, southwest.
I know.
That's bad country in between if we had to come down.
I know that, too.
Were you kidding about that $5,000?
No.
All right. Put away your gun.
What happens when we land at Dallas?
Gas up, check the motor, and go on.
If you try any tricks
Why
on...
should I? Good looker like you, $5,000.
Can I sit next to you?
Yeah, sure. Come on. There we go.
Your first name's Zeke, isn't it?
You've been reading hotel registers.
Yes. You won't be sorry about this.
I'll bet I won't. I was proud of the old windmill. I never thought she could make it, but by 5 o'clock that afternoon, we landed at a town a little north of Laredo. We talked about how we were going to get across the border. She still hadn't told me anything, but I knew that she wanted to get into Mexico with no questions asked. So we decided to steer clear of Laredo and border guards and hang around until it got dark and then take a chance. Took some extra gas aboard and went over the motor. Then there was nothing to do but wait for the night. We went to a cafe to eat. That's the American idea of Mexican food. Unless it burns your tongue off, it's not the real thing.
You done much night flying?
Oh, plenty. Used to be with a commercial outfit.
No.
They fired me for fighting with a passenger. That was before the war. Flew B-24s out of England and came back. Now I'm too old for jets and too independent for commercial jobs, so I'm just a sky bum. What's so funny?
Oh, you. You sound so tough. I wonder.
What?
About you. I think you'd make love like a high school boy.
You want to find out?
No. How soon do you think we can take off to Torreon?
Oh, about an hour or so.
What about our lights when we cross the border?
We won't have any.
Good.
Anyone ever tell you that you're good to look at?
Yes, but you can tell me again.
I like your eyes. They're soft sometimes.
Hi, Mac. Hi.
Sometimes mean.
Want to the party?
It's exciting, though.
No. Got patrol.
Hey, you're not listening to me. Well, that's the first time I've seen that.
What?
You look scared when the cop came in.
Come on, it's time to go.
We took off soon after dark. I took her up to about 8,000 feet, and we crossed the border. Next stop, Torreon. Laredo was nearly 200 miles behind us when the Stinson died. Just quick, cold. We went down nice and easy. I couldn't see anything below. All I knew was that we weren't going to make Torreon. Phyllis didn't scream. She just watched me. Then before we hit, grabbed the suitcase up and held it in her lap. I remember thinking then it was a funny thing to do. And that was all for a while.
Escape, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, returns in just a moment.
How well do you know the history of your Army? For example, do you know when the U.S. Army's first dental corps was authorized? Your military history will tell you that an enlisted man, Dr. W.H. Ware, served as a dentist in the Philippines in 1898 as a member of the medical department. But it wasn't until 3 years later, in 1901, that the first recognized dental corps was authorized by act of Congress. In that year, the Army was given permission to employ contract dental surgeons not to exceed 1 to every 30,000 of said Army, and not to exceed 30 in all. Thus, another page was added to the history of your United States Army.
And now, back to Escape.
I woke up. For a moment, everything was a surprise. I was alive. It was getting light. A lock of the girl's hair was falling over her eye. I reached out for it, felt it. It was wet, bloody. She was alive, but I couldn't tell how much. I looked at my watch. It was 4:30. As the gray light came through the broken window, I saw something else. A suitcase. It had broken open and spilled out 4 or 5 neat green packages. The thing was full. Packages of new $100 bills. Must have been $250,000. Phyllis? Phyllis? Phyllis, you okay? Come on. Come on. Come on, now, can you sit up?
Oh.
You all right?
Oh, my head hurts.
Well, take it easy for a while. Here, now, give me your gun.
No.
Come on. I want to have a look outside.
All right.
I'll be right back. We'd come down in a kind of basin, and all around were ridges and low peaks. It was rough country, all right. From what I could see, mean. I had an idea water was going to be a problem. As far as you could see, there was nothing but cactus and yucca trees. I started back for the plane, and that's when I saw him. Sitting under a bush, his hat on his knees.
Good morning, senor.
He was round, and his face was the color of sand. And his smile were lots of flashing white and gold teeth. I guess he was mostly Indian. He had the happiest voice I'd ever heard.
You've had a terrible accident, senor. I'm so glad you're alive.
How long have you been here?
Since earlier.
How much earlier?
Oh, much earlier, senor.
Well, why didn't you try and get us out?
If you were dead, one must await a reasonable time to allow the spirit to depart.
Oh. Well, I'm glad to see you. My name's Gannett.
Gannett?
Mm-hmm.
You're American?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I love the Americans. They're so rich. I am Esteban. I will help you. There is another in the machine with you?
Yeah, a girl. She's hurt.
We take her to my village. There she will be taken care of. I'm so happy that you are alive, senor.
Where are we?
A little from my village.
No, I mean, how far from Torreon?
Torreon? It is many days from here.
Oh. What's the name of your village?
El Cielo. It means heaven, senor. You will like it. My people will be so happy to see you. Come, we must help your friends.
When we got back to the plane, Phyllis was on her feet, and I noticed that the suitcase was closed again. She had a cut on her head, but otherwise she was okay. She let me carry the case, and we followed Esteban for about a mile to a little canyon. And there we saw El Cielo. A dozen adobe huts sprawled over the canyon floor.
Let me take your suitcase, senor. I will put it where it will be safe.
No, thanks. I'll take care of it.
As you wish. Once you step in here, I'll bring you food and water.
Thank you.
Oh, it is a pleasure. I love Americans. You are our guests. We are happy to see you.
How do you feel?
Oh, much better, thank you.
I'm not so sure about that guy. I've heard about these Indians. They're not usually very fond of Americans, or any strangers for that matter.
Do you think he'll help us get to Torreon?
I don't know. From the way he talks, it must be about 100 miles from here.
Oh.
Listen, honey, it's none of my business, but that suitcase of yours.
What about it?
Now, there's no sense kidding. I know what's in it.
Oh.
It's a good idea not to let these people know.
You've got a gun?
As soon as not have to use it. You want to tell me about the suitcase?
No.
Okay. We let it go at that. Esteban brought us food, and afterwards we met the rest of the village. They were very polite. Too polite. I couldn't figure it out, but nobody can be that happy to see a stranger. Yeah, they gave us a hut for the night, and after the dogs had quieted down, it got very quiet. You asleep?
No.
How's the head?
Fine, thanks.
I'm sorry about this.
It's all right.
We're going to have to get out as soon as we can. These people are...
You think they'll make trouble?
I don't know. They're just too happy. There's something wrong, the way our fat friend looks at you.
Maybe he thinks I'm pretty.
Yeah, maybe.
What are you going to do about it?
Look, in the morning we're going back to the plane. There's a chance I can do something to fix it up. Just a chance.
Oh?
Yeah. Well...
You were telling me something back at the cafe in Laredo. About me?
Yeah, I wasn't I? I guess you're not very scared about all this, are you?
I don't want to think about it.
You ought to be thinking about it.
Deke.
Look, we're in a tight spot.
I don't care.
But I do. Maybe if we ever got out of here...
All right, high school boy. Good night.
The next morning, Esteban went with me back to the plane. It was still there. That is, most of it. Of course, they'd taken everything movable from inside, stripped the rubber tires off, stolen the prop. What about it, Esteban?
Senor?
Nice hospitality. I wanted to patch her up.
Senor, some dirty thieves must have come out of the night and done this
Yeah,
thing.
you can say that again.
Surely you would not suspect my people.
Oh, no, not your people.
I'm so happy then.
Well, you'll have to rent a couple of your mules. Maybe you'll guide us to a town that's got a bus or a railroad or something.
You have money to pay for these things?
Little, yeah.
We talk about it maybe tomorrow. Now we go back to the village.
We didn't talk about it tomorrow or the next day or the next. Esteban always made some excuse. We weren't prisoners, but wherever we went, there was always one of them watching. Just watching and smiling. But there was something about those smiles. It was on the fifth day that things really went wrong. The villagers had left our hut alone, and I guess we got a little careless about the suitcase. Phyllis and I had been up to a ridge 4 miles away to take a look at the country and our chances for hiking out. When we got back, it was almost dark.
The suitcase.
What?
It's gone.
Well, I'll be...
They've stolen it. You think it's funny? Stop.
I'm sorry, but... What's that for? Don't you see how funny it is? $250,000 stolen by Indians? Where are they going to spend it? On what?
Got to get it back. You help me. I'll share it with you.
You will?
Yes. Listen, you might as well know. Remember the bank holdup in Chicago last year?
Yeah. $1 million and security.
That suitcase is part of it. A friend of mine left it with me. He got out of the country.
Now he's in Torreon?
Yes. I was to hang around in small towns until things got quieter. When you came along, it gave me a chance. I was to meet him in Torreon. I don't care about him now. It's you and me.
Oh.
We've got to get away from here. We can go to Mexico City or anywhere.
How far do you think we get in this country?
We'll take their mules.
Well, we can try. Esteban's the boy to find. You and me?
Yes. Yes. Don't you know that by now?
Okay.
Senor, what can I say? No one has been in your house. It is unthinkable.
Look, you know what this is?
It is a gun, senor.
Yeah.
Only the rich can afford such things.
I'm telling you to round up that suitcase or else. Now tell your friends. I mean it. Now go ahead.
El americano dice que tenemos que devolver la maleta. Si no, se va a enojar mucho y nos fusilará a todos, incluyendo a los niños.
Well?
They say they are very much afraid.
Get me the suitcase.
We brought you here when you might have died in the desert. Surely you would not harm us.
That's a lot of double talk. You brought us here to steal us blind.
Senor, you have made a terrible accusation. We're very unhappy. Perhaps you would care to search the village.
You get that suitcase. Ah, what's the use? There wasn't any use. I couldn't shoot them down in cold blood. I knew I'd never find the suitcase. I also knew that we had to get out of there. We'd lost the money, but at least for the moment we still had our lives. I asked Esteban for mules.
Senora, a terrible thing has happened. Last night the mules strayed away. We have none left. It is a great loss.
So I could call him a liar. He was, too, but I couldn't find the mules. That decided it.
I'm afraid of them.
Yeah, I don't like the way Esteban's been looking at that ring of yours. We're going to have to make it out on foot.
Well, anything's better than staying here.
Oh, if I only had that map. Oh, well, I don't think they'll try to stop us. We'll start tonight when it gets cool. You better get some sleep. That evening, I heard the villagers moving around outside the hut. I kept our gun ready, but nothing happened. And then, about midnight, we took a couple of skins of water, some tortillas, and walked out of El Cielo. Nobody said goodbye. Nobody tried to stop us. But as I looked back, I saw in the moonlight a group of people huddled together, watching us. We walked for 3 days. Desert. Heat. Night. Cold. Then the water was gone. How you doing?
Oh, all right.
Try not to think about it.
Can we rest a minute?
Hey, better not. Not yet. Try to get to the hills. It's only a few miles. It'll be hotter. Now save your breath. Huh? Don't move. Don't move. It's a Gila monster. All right now, fellas. Don't move. Just don't move, now blow his head off. Now keep still. That's it. Keep still. She lived on for about 2 hours. Then died raving. Cursing me, the money, and herself. A week later, I was picked up. That was 6 months ago. The Mexican police tried to find my plane, but I couldn't tell them where it was. They'd never even heard of El Cielo. So, somewhere in Coahuila, Mexico, there's a village. Maybe if you go down there, you'll find a suitcase with $250,000. Or maybe you'll just find kids cutting paper dolls out of $100 bills. Just crash your plane this side of Torreon.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you This Side of Nowhere by Anthony Ellis. William Conrad was starred as Deke, and Virginia Gregg as Phyllis, with Don Diamond as Esteban. In the supporting cast were Lou Krugman and Ralph Moody. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Ivan Ditmars.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service. Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Wellston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have descended into a canyon on Venus to rescue a wounded space pilot. As they reach the injured man, a flash flood roars down the river, piling water up behind the dam above them.
We got to get him out of here quickly, Happy. The water's rising fast. Once we get into the ledge, we shouldn't have any trouble carrying him to the top. It's a landslide. Just close to the dam. Keep your head down. Smoke and rockets. That was close. We got to get him up the path. There may be another landslide. Commander, look up there. Most of the ledge is swept away. We're trapped.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Mysterious Meteor. Do you hear that, gang? That's the Terra Express train trying to get up speed on ordinary fuel. Not very speedy, is it? But now listen to that same train with super fuel in its tank. Yes, sir, that train's really traveling now because it's supercharged with super fuel. And, gang, without a good breakfast, you can't go very fast either. But with super fuel in your tank, you're supercharged. Here's how Buzz Corey gets up a head of steam in the morning. He has a good breakfast with Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the super cereals that help to supercharge you. For taste, they're terrific. And for size, they're perfect because they both have that modern bite-sized design. So, gang, get off to a quick start in the morning the way Buzz Corey does. Get supercharged. Just eat a good breakfast with the Checkerboard Super Cereals. And get them today in the red and white Checkerboard packages. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. One of the 30th century's greatest achievements has been the transformation of barren desert areas on the planet Earth into rich, fertile farmlands. Buzz, Happy, and Major Robertson are in one of those regions now, completing inspection of a new spaceport at the Arizona city of New Arcadia, center of a thriving agricultural district. While Robbie is finishing up a few details in the city, Buzz and Happy have taken a surface car for a drive out in the country.
Commander, look at that. Another meteor. Must be fairly low in the atmosphere. Hey, it must be a whopper, too. Wow, did you see that?
It got so hot it exploded.
And what a flash. It lit up the whole countryside.
Quite a show.
I never saw one like that before. Oh, look, there's another one.
The Earth must be passing through a meteor shower.
It looks like it's coming right at us.
When this one explodes, it'll make quite a display.
It better explode pretty quick before it hits. Hey, Commander, it looks like it's headed right for the city. Commander, it hit. It landed right in New Arcadia.
Well, they're pretty deceptive, Happy. It could have struck several miles beyond. You'd better get into town. If it did land there, it would be a terrible catastrophe.
We're getting close, Commander. There's a whole area roped off up there. And the people are jammed around it.
We'll have to stop here and get out, Happy. We can't get through the crowd with this surface car.
Hey, look. There's Major Robertson.
Commander, I'm glad you're here. What happened, Robbie? A meteor landed right in the middle of the park. Anybody hurt? No, by a lucky chance. But a few people got showered with dirt, and a couple of hundred got the scare of their lives.
Well, how big is the meteor?
It's hard to tell. It's like a crater about 20 yards wide. The meteor's way down in the bottom of a deeper pit, glowing and red hot. Let's get through this crowd and have a look. Right, Commander. All right, make way, please. Space Patrol coming through.
What a crowd.
Oh, there she is.
It looks like a huge red eye.
We don't know how large it really is. Part of it's buried by the dirt that fell back into the pit. Look at the size of the crater, Robbie. It's a miracle it landed where it did. A very lucky miracle. Well, they're bringing up the Tomo power shovel now.
Well, aren't they going to wait until it cools off before they try to pull it out?
Professor King wants to encourage us to make some tests. Professor King? Yes, sir.
Professor James King, the meteorite expert.
Hold that right there. Hold that.
That's the professor shouting at the shovel operator. Professor King's been lecturing at the university here. Oh, I recognize him now. I met him a couple of years ago on Mercury. Well, apparently he's seen you. Here he comes.
Commander Corey, isn't this most fortunate?
Oh, hello, Professor. Yes, it is fortunate. It could have been a terrible calamity.
Exactly. If I had followed my usual custom, I would have been home in my study. But something urged me to go for a stroll. And I was only half a block from the park when this green streak rolled out of the sky.
I was thinking it might have killed someone.
That would have been tragic, of course. But think of it. A rare meteor falling right at my feet, so to speak. Commander, do I have your permission to test it?
Of course.
Thank you. I already examined it for radioactivity.
How does it test?
It's rather high, but not unusually so for an object that has spent millions of years in outer space.
It's not dangerous, then?
Oh, no. Except that right now it's rather hot from the friction of the atmosphere. The shovel operator is going to scoop away some of the dirt so I can check its size. Would you care to watch?
Of course, Professor King. Oh, by the way, this is Cadet Happy.
How do you do, sir?
Glad to know you, Cadet. Your first meteor?
Well, not quite.
Happy's had quite a few experiences with meteors in space.
Oh, of course.
Now, here comes the first scoop.
Get back! The meteor exploded.
No, it didn't. It's still glowing.
Yeah, but look at the shovel.
I mean, look where it was. That huge scoop is gone. The cables are just hanging there.
What could have caused it, Professor?
I don't know, Commander. Things are hot, but not hot enough to melt a steel shovel. To say nothing of exploding one.
It's a wonder we weren't hit by the hot metal. Professor, you'd better leave that meteor alone until we get this crowd cleared away.
Yes, Commander, you're right.
Robbie, have the local patrol keep everybody out of the park except the professor and men on official duty.
Yes, sir.
Professor, I suggest you get an endurium scoop on that power shovel. You better wait till that meteor cools off a little more.
Good suggestions, Commander. I'll follow them.
Robbie, put a guard around the crater. I don't know what we've got here, but this is no ordinary meteor.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot day, Commander.
Yes, but it was cool last night. I hope the meteor has lost most of its heat.
Oh, I see Professor King is already at the crater.
With his power shovel and a lot of paraphernalia, see?
Good morning, Commander.
Good morning, Professor.
Well, I made a few tests.
What did you find out?
The object has cooled considerably, although it's far too hot to touch.
I wouldn't advise touching it at all until we know a lot more about it.
I managed to make a spectrographic analysis of it. It seems to be of ordinary meteorite composition, chiefly iron and nickel. The colors show a fair percentage of cobalt, copper, magnesium, and the common gases.
Did you find anything to account for what happened to the steel scoop?
No. There were no unusual elements present. At least none have shown up. Commander, I'd like to dig that meteor out and have it shipped to Terra for a thorough test.
It might be a pretty heavy load for a spaceship.
Oh, I didn't think so. I was able to make some magnetic detection tests. There isn't much more of it underground. It should only weigh about 500 pounds.
Hand me that case, Happy. Before we start that endurium shovel, Professor, let's make a few simple tests.
What kind of tests?
We saw what happened to that hard steel last night, so I brought a few small samples of different metals. I thought we might toss them down on the meteor and see what would happen.
Excellent idea.
Let's go down into the crater a little farther.
Aye.
Not too close, Happy. We can hit it from here.
Yes, sir.
Now, here's a piece of steel. Try that first.
Right, Commander. I hope my aim is good. It's gone. Vanished.
Fragment disintegrated.
From here, looks like it chipped a piece out of the meteor.
What'll we try next?
Here's a lump of nickel, Happy.
Okay. The rockets, that's gone, too. Well, Commander, if it destroys everything that touches it, well, why doesn't it just sink into the ground?
Apparently, it doesn't disintegrate soil. Now, try this piece of endurium.
All right, sir. Hey, nothing happened. The endurium is just lying there on top of the meteor.
Well, now at least we know we can dig the meteor out with an endurium shovel.
Yes, but don't forget, if you're going to move that object, it'll have to be packed in an endurium box.
That's right. Well, we'll need a box about 3 feet
thick on each side, perhaps a little thicker, just to be sure.
Good idea.
Oh, I can hardly wait to get it to my laboratory on Terra so that extensive tests can be made.
Well, you better not try it with any expensive instruments.
It's going to be a difficult object to handle, all right.
Professor, we'll leave you now. Happy and I have got to get back to the local Space Patrol headquarters and clean up a few details.
No, Commander. Thank you both for your help.
I'll have one of my men get a truck and an Endurium crate. Professor, I'd like to see you at Space Patrol headquarters before you go.
Commander.
Come in, Professor.
Well, I'll get you a chair, Professor K.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Well, not at all. Won't you sit down? Have any trouble with your metal-eating monster?
No, it's packed in an Endurium crate with another ordinary crate around that. And it is now at the new Arcadia spaceport.
So you're ready to go to Terra and solve the mystery?
Commander, I think I have already solved it.
Do you know what makes it destroy steel and nickel?
Well, that meteorite will destroy any substance that it contains within itself.
But how? Other meteors don't do that.
Dr. Rawlins and I have come to the same conclusion. We believe this meteor is matter in reverse.
Matter in reverse?
Yes. Matter entirely foreign to our part of the universe. It may have come originally from a galaxy millions of light years away, where matter is formed in an entirely different way.
But you said it appears to be iron and nickel and other substances with which we're familiar.
Yes, that's how it appears. But the atomic structure of each element is in exact reverse. Matter in our solar system has atoms with negatively charged electrons whirling around a positive nucleus.
And this meteor has a negative nucleus with positive electrons.
Exactly. For years, scientists have speculated about the possibility of such matter. Now we know it exists. Perhaps whole galaxies are made of.
But I still don't see why it destroys other metals.
That's only half of the story, Cadet. Part of the meteor is destroyed, too, in another form of atomic explosion. The two forms of matter cancel each other out.
They neutralize each other.
Precisely. Atom for atom. Commander, if we can learn to duplicate that process, we're on the threshold of a new era.
Excuse me, Commander.
Oh, Major Robertson.
Yes, Robbie? I'm glad the professor's here, sir. There's been a mix-up at the spaceport. That meteor was put aboard the wrong spaceship.
What?
Well, there's nothing to be upset about. Freight dispatch had traced it. It's aboard a cargo ship carrying mining equipment to Venus.
Commander, we have to overtake that ship.
I know, Professor. Robbie, if that meteor should come in contact with a large body of iron or steel, such as a building, it would cause an explosion that would kill or injure everyone around it. We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Gang, here's the story of a cosmic surface car in trouble. Listen. The trouble, it's got nothing to go on but ordinary fuel. But you hear that? The driver's filling up the tank with some super fuel. Something's going to happen now. Boy, that cosmic surface car is really roaring. That's because it's supercharged with super fuel. And the same is true with you, gang. What happens when you don't have a good breakfast? You're just a putt-putt. But when you fill up your tank with super fuel, man, you're supercharged. Here's how Buzz Corey does it. He eats a good breakfast with the Checkerboard Super Cereal. Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. Wait till you taste them, gang. Boy, are they good. Flavor galore in every crisp, bite-sized biscuit. So, gang, get going. Eat a good super cereal breakfast and get supercharged. Get the super cereals today. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. While Buzz, Happy, and Major Robertson were in Arizona on the planet Earth, a strange meteor hurtled out of the sky and buried itself in a city park. Attempts to dig it up resulted in steel digging tools being disintegrated in a blinding flash. So far, only the metal Endurium has resisted the strange destructive force. It's now believed that the meteor is composed of matter with reversed electrical charges, matter from outer space that can destroy matter as it's known in our solar system. By mistake, the Endurium crate containing the meteor was put aboard the wrong ship. Right now, Buzz and Happy are aboard the Terra 5, racing to overtake the cargo ship carrying mining equipment and the strange meteors of Venus.
Happy, keep the freighter in the viewscope.
Yes, Commander. Hey, if he's headed for Venus City, he's losing altitude pretty fast.
That's been worrying me, Hap. I'll contact him again by spaceophone. Menacori aboard Terra 5 calling cargo ship EC-349. Menacori to pilot Bill Craig aboard cargo ship EC-349.
Craig here. Go ahead, Commander.
I was just wondering why you're coming in so low.
I wanted to tell you, but I've been too busy to call, Commander.
I'm sure you know your business, but those Torlock Mountains aren't exactly anthills.
You bet they aren't. Believe me, I'd enjoy being about 3 miles higher.
Having trouble with your ship?
Yes, sir. I came into Venus atmosphere on automatic trajectory control, and the control's out of adjustment. Looks like I'm going to have to set down outside the city somewhere on repeller aid.
You don't sound very worried.
Should I be?
Well, you know your ship.
Commander, exactly what am I carrying aboard this ship? Why is everything so mysterious?
I'll explain it later, Craig.
I wish somebody would. All space control told me is that something was put aboard my ship by mistake. You'd meet me at Venus City Spaceport and supervise its removal.
We didn't want to cause you any undue alarm. The fact is, you've got something very dangerous aboard.
Explosives? Don't worry, I've hauled some pretty ticklish stuff in my day.
You've never hauled anything quite like what you have aboard now. Everything will be all right if you just set her down easy.
Okay, Commander. Look, right now I don't think I can get above that Torlock range. If I can get any power out of the rockets, I'll deflect a few degrees and head up the canyon.
Well, he must be in his car.
Do you have any rocket control at all?
A little. Enough to maneuver between those mountains.
All right, Craig. Good luck. We'll be watching. Corey out.
I hope he can reach a broad level space to set her down.
I hope it does, too, Hap. Keep an eye on him through the viewscope.
Yes, sir. Sir, why didn't you tell him he was hauling a wild meteor?
No sense wasting time explaining. He knows he has a problem.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He made it, Commander. Yeah, he's headed up the canyon. I guess he's okay now.
Let's hope so.
Hey, his speed's dropped way down, sir. He's losing altitude.
Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Bill Craig.
Craig here, go ahead.
How you doing?
Canyon widens out into a valley beyond Crescent Dam. I think I'll be okay when I pass there.
All right, Craig. When you find a good spot, ease her down carefully.
Right, sir. Craig out.
Oh, he's pretty cool about it, I'll say that.
He's a skilled spaceman, Happy. He's going to need all the skill he's got.
There's the dam up ahead.
He's getting awfully close to that canyon wall.
Yeah. He isn't going to clear the dam by more than a few... He hit the side of the hill.
His ship's skimming along that shoulder. It'll only hold together.
Oh, rockets, Commander. I can't look. Did he hit the dam?
Not quite. It's a bad crack up. It broke the hull open. It's hanging over a rock halfway down the side of the canyon.
At least the meteor didn't explode.
The steel on the Endurium crate must have held fast. We'll set the ship down on that flat stretch on the other side of the dam and get to Craig as quickly as possible. From the looks of that sky, there's an ammonia storm brewing.
Hope it holds off until we get Craig. Climbing is no cinch, Commander. This terrain is rough.
A few more feet and we'll be even with the top of the dam.
Anything yet, sir?
You can see part of the wreckage from here, but no sign of Craig. Come on, Hap, we've got to hurry.
Feel that wind. Wow, that storm is roaring down the canyon a mile a minute.
Better work fast, Happy.
Commander, look. Some of the cargo's spilled out of the ship and rolled down into the water.
Yeah. One of the crates have smashed open.
Yeah, I hope the meteor didn't roll into the water.
That looks bad. The hull is smashed right near the pilot's compartment.
I hope Craig is all right.
Let's work our way down into the ship.
Commander, look. Isn't that a man down there at the edge of the water?
It's Craig. He must have been tossed out of the ship.
He sees us. He's waving.
He's hurt. Come on. Hurry. Watch your step. It's steep through here. Happy, there's a ledge that slopes right down to the dam. A couple of crates stopped there.
Sure. It leads right up to that ladder on the dam, near the gate.
Now, let's head for it.
We're lucky we trailed Craig into Venus instead of going on ahead to meet him at Venus City.
All right. Hey, look at that water level. There must be a flash flood up the canyon.
Smoke and rockets.
Nearly up to where Craig's lying. Rising fast. Got to get him out of there. Now, take it easy climbing over that Endurium crate, Happy. That's the meteor.
Hey, the seal's broken. The meteor's part way out of the crate.
We're in luck.
Fortunately, none of those pieces of machinery came in contact with it. All right, let's climb down the face of the dam. Watch that ladder. It's going to be slippery. Commander, we'll have you out of here in a few minutes, Craig. Here, Happy, help me lift him to his feet.
It's my right leg. Didn't mind the ship crashing, but bouncing down the mountain like a rubber ball was pretty rough.
Can you put any weight on that leg, Craig?
I'll try. I think I can make it.
I'd put your arms over our shoulders. Rest most of your weight on it. How do we get him up over the dam, sir?
The tough part will be the ladder. From there on, we can work back up the ledge and zigzag to the top. Yeah. I figure I can make it with a boost now and then.
All right. Start up the ladder.
Okay. It's okay. I can make it.
Look at that water. It's rising fast. A landslide. Press close to the dam. Keep your head down. Look, rockets. That was close.
Look at that. If you men hadn't come for me, I'd be buried under several tons of dirt right now.
Let's get out of here. There could be another landslide. Commander, look up there. How are we going to get out? The landslide has swept away most of the ledge.
That's right. We can get as high as a sluice gate, but from then on, it's sheer wall.
Let's get up to what's left of the ledge. We'll be out of the water at least. All right, Craig, get on the ledge.
Okay. All clear.
Go ahead, Happy. There. All right, sir. Here, I'll give you a hand. Thanks. Gee, look at the water now. It's halfway up the ladder.
Yeah. And look back up the canyon. It's streaming down at big waves.
Commander, do you think it'll come as high as the ledge? Look at the watermark of the previous flood. Comes this high because of the sluice gate. Wow.
Even if the water doesn't come over the ledge, we're stuck here.
If that sluice gate were only open, we could go through the spillway to the other side of the dam. There's a ladder on that side, too. I saw it coming up. How can we get it open? The spillway to the other side of the dam. There's a ladder on that side, too. It's operated by remote control from a station far down the valley. Hey, maybe they'll open the gate.
Yeah, by that time, it won't do us any good. See that line painted 10 feet over the gate? The water has to reach that level before the flood warning sounds.
He's right, Happy.
Looks like I led you fellas into a trap. I've only managed to get the ship over the dam.
Well, it isn't your fault, Craig.
Well, I suppose we might as well sit down on the crates and relax.
I'd be careful of my feet if I were you, Craig. Don't let the metal in your boot buckles hit that meteor.
Meteor? What are you talking about?
There's a meteor in that crate. That's what we were worried about. If certain metals touch it, they explode. Craig, get off that crate. Huh? Quickly, Happy. Give me a hand to that meteor. What do you mean, sir? Let's get this meteor rolling down the slope of the ledge. Into the water? No, toward the dam. If it gets up enough speed, it might crash into that sluice gate.
Sure, but will it be going fast enough to knock that gate out?
Well, no, sir. Hey, Commander, that gate is solid steel. Exactly. Hey, solid steel, like the first power shovel scoop. Okay, Commander, I get it. Craig, get over behind that other crate. If this works, it's going to be quite an explosion. Careful, Happy. Remove your cadet ring. Yes, sir. It'll be a pretty painful way to find if the meteor has platinum in it. Hey, this thing is sure hard to move. If we get it rolling, it won't be so bad. At least it's lighter here on Venus than it was on Earth. Watch your feet. We've got it rolling, sir. Quickly now. Get behind the aquarium crate. Hope it doesn't wobble off into the water. Craig, keep your head down. It worked. There's a great big hole in the sluice gate. Come on, let's get off this ledge. It's a spillway.
Yeah, let's get through before the water does.
Look, Commander, can you see through the dam to the valley? There's our ship.
Now, that's a beautiful sight.
Commander, what about Professor King? What's he going to say? I'm afraid the professor will have to be content with telling another story about the big one that got away.
An exciting preview of next week's thrilling Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. But first, gang, here's something that's more fun than anything you ever owned. Something that rates as the biggest value we have ever offered. Something new, different, exciting. I'm speaking of that wonderful new thrill, Space Patrol Space Binoculars. I call it a wonderful new thrill because this amazing piece of Space Patrol equipment makes it possible for you to see houses, buildings, cars, and people way off in the distance. Yes, sir, when you look through your Space Patrol space binoculars, you can see what's going on blocks and blocks away. And when you look through your space binoculars, you don't even have to hold them. No, sir, they have a strong elastic band that holds them snugly to your eyes. Makes you look like somebody from outer space, because when you wear your binoculars, they stand out from your eyes a full 3.5 inches. Well, that's right. I'm not talking about flimsy little goggles or a mask. I'm talking about real, honest-to-goodness 4-power binoculars with 4 pure lucite lenses. The real McCoy, in other words. Real binoculars. They're made of solid black plastic, and they have a bright red leather-like trimming that makes them look terrific. Overall, space binoculars are 5 inches wide, 5 inches long. And boy, oh boy, the fun you can have with them. You can see who's coming up the street. You can read signs way off in the distance. You can spot planes in the sky. And you can name the kinds of cars you see blocks and blocks away. And hey, when you look through the other end of your space binoculars, they smallify. Yes, sir, they do the opposite. Instead of making far-off things look close, they work the other way around. They make close things look far away. Lots of fun. Now, gang, to get a pair of these space binoculars, a pair exactly like Buzz Corey wears, do this. And, boy, you better do it quick because this offer soon ends. Just buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. Gang, if you don't think your space binoculars are tops, send them back and we'll return your money. The address again, Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on the third moon of Jupiter in their spacesuits, attempting to pull Major Robertson out of a crevice into which he's fallen. Buzz has lowered Happy into the crevice where thousands of beetle-like insects are swarming, impervious to the cold and lack of atmosphere.
Lower me a couple more feet, sir. Doggone these bugs. That's it, sir. Loop the rope under the Major's arms, Happy. Just a minute, sir. I'll brush off some of these insects. Some of them just won't brush off. They're awful. They're on my suit, too. Yes, and all over the Major's. Commander, they're eating through our spacesuits. We gotta get the Major out of there and get back to the ship. If these insects puncture our suits, we're finished.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Moon Beetles, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, and Bela Kovach. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.